Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mad Lads Live. Glad to have everybody back. 8:30 on the nose. We're here, back again with the Dwarves of Garzumi Keep. I almost streamed Baldur's Gate this evening, but the call of the Dwarves, they were calling me back. So I am glad to see everybody here. I'm glad to bring you guys another episode of the Dwarves. All right, where did we leave off? We had just finished, last episode we had finished up. We needed steel plates. Yeah, we need iron plates. I mean, so we're gonna have to make a run to get more iron plates. Anybody who was here last episode? We had sieged. It was supposed to be a raid, and it turned more into an absolute massacre. We did a mini siege on this way station over here for supplies because we managed to piss off the tech hunters in an earlier episode. And as a result of that, we don't really have many trading partners, and we also ended up greasing a noble too. So, well, we didn't completely, obliterate our relations with the United Cities. We did have to fight off some members of the United Cities, and all of that jive. I did. Oh, you know what? I think I may have made a whoopsie just now. We're gonna find out. I did an import as I do before every stream, and I may. Yep, I lost my prisoners as a result. Okay, so that sucks. That whole thing was effectively undone, or at least that portion of it. But that's okay because we did get a lot of good supplies out of this. Not so much research supplies. We're pretty much set on that, but we got a lot of really good food supplies, electrical components, and all that stuff to get us more self-sufficient. So we're moving in a lot better position than we are just now. So, all right. Yeah, we can go ahead and get started with whatever we're doing here. We're gonna have to make another run to that way station. Yeah, we're gonna have to make another run over to that way station. So I'm gonna put together a small. Well, actually, you know what? Before we do anything, I'm gonna try and do this in a. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get all three of the golems over because no one's gonna attack us at the keep. They never do. So we're gonna get all three of the golems together. We're gonna get we'll bring Stream over just because he's the only one that I think him and the king have the highest stats here. So between the four of them, we should be able to get into the keep. We're gonna have to go back to the way station. So we're gonna go back to the way station. And no, this way. We're gonna go back to the way station and we're gonna try and grab a couple of steel plates. The goal here is that we go in, get the steel plates, and get out. I don't want to have another 2-hour combat scene on our hands like we did the other night. So, in an ideal world, we'll only have a couple of minutes in there and out. The golems will be able to hold the line. Our illustrious mod is finally in chat. He took a while to finally get back in chat, but he's here. He's here. Everybody say hi to stream. There he is, the man behind the thick boy himself. All right. So first things first, we need to get back over to the way station, which means dodging beak things, and is that our elder beak things? Yeah, so these are the two elder beak things that have been creeping around here for a while. They scare the living shit out of me. These guys, even someone with the defense, like Stream has 100 strength. If he's using martial arts, he can have upwards of like almost 60 dodge, and he's still can get killed in 4 or 5 hits by these guys. I mean, it's tough. And he has like ludicrous amounts because he's a juggernaut. So he's a ludicrous amount of HP on every limb, and still 3 or 4 hits and he'll drop, which means any normal NPC would probably be either knocked out instantaneously or, God forbid, killed quite literally instantly should they go up against just one of the elder beak things, let alone 2 of them. So at some point we are going to have to deal with them. But that is not today. That is a problem for with the dwarves a different day. Oh, and we had decided last episode, but I never got around to doing it. I'm going to turn off depth of field. We got around last episode. We had decided that we were going to name the faction. A lot of good names were presented, and I finally decided, based on everything that was given in chat, everyone's suggestions, we're going to go with Clan Angler. So we are the Dwarves of Clan Angler in memoriam for the sieging of the Fishman Isles. We took the Fishman Isles, we wrangled them out, and we are now the Dwarves of Clan Angler. So, it kind of follows that Warhammer naming scheme that a couple people had recommended. Gotta drink my Java for a nice long night of streaming that leaves me with the indentation of my hat on my forehead. We're moving. We're dodging beak things. We should be fine. Getting over there is not much of an issue. I really don't have any worry about anything attacking us or killing us on the way over there. My primary concern is once we get over there, we're going to end in another, massive brawl. And unlike last time, I don't have, 9 people, 8-9 people with me. It's just the 4 of them. But the upside to that is that we should be able to get in and get out. I'm going to move all of them to their own squad. We should just be able to get in and get out. Fingers crossed this is an easy trip, and we walk out of there with everything we need. We have that. We need... Can't do anything with that yet. We do have these 2 stolen katanas. Hang on to those for right now. Yeah, we should have enough inventory space to get everything that we need. We need a metric shit ton of steel plates. So that's the goal. Also, you guys may notice the stream is slightly higher quality this time. We're rocking a nice 1080p comparatively to last time. Things should be a little bit more clear, a little bit sharper. I've been incrementally increasing the load during each stream to make sure that we can handle it without any issue. I did a couple of test runs today, and we were fine. So we should be all set on that. But, just a small quality increase, so words should be a little bit easier to read now. And then, all right, calm down. Stream and I will be live tomorrow playing Soul Frame, a little Soul Frame and chill on a nice Tuesday. That'll be fun. We've been dipping our toes on it a little bit, playing here and there. We got a couple hours in just to get the basics, but tomorrow we're gonna have a nice rousing round of Soul Frame. It'll be a good time. He'll be streaming over on Twitch as he usually does when he does stream, and I'll be obviously here on YouTube for all of your viewing pleasures. Now, the key is that we're going to have to get past. Everything from this point should be easy. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing on Soul Frame either. Yeah, I still have no idea. I feel like every time I play, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm getting a better grasp of it in terms of like what the hell's going on or what like the mechanics are, and then some cutscene happens and suddenly I have literally no idea what's going on again. It's all very like spiritual and like introspective, and it's all like allegorical. It's wild. It's fun though, so at least there's that. I imagine that's how Warframe feels to people now. It's not like back in the day when it was just like, hey, we're like tech ninjas. Now there's a whole lot of like spirituality and like metaphysics and alternate timelines and all that kind of stuff involved. It kind of jumped the shark, threw the baby out with the bathwater. I imagine that's how people in Warframe feel these days. Welcome to everyone that just joined. I see we're up to 10. As I said last time, the goal, the hope, The dream is that we'll be able to surpass our previous all-time high. We hit 60 views the other day. We had 60 concurrent viewers the other day, so hopefully we're able to do that. Again, I would like to be able to hit that again, so yeah, 60 was our all-time high concurrent viewers. We did that 2 streams ago. Was absolutely huge. So my goal is to get, to 65, 70. See a little increase, little pop off. But usually we start to really pop off about 15, 20 minutes into the stream. So we'll see what happens. Once we get to the way station, shit's gonna really pop off. We're gonna have to send the golems in first again. This time, let them really clean house a little bit. Hopefully, some of the damage that we did last time has stuck, and that everyone is still in rough shape, because I don't know if we have it in us to do a whole fight again. The upside is this time we have all 3 golems right from the get-go. So last time we charged in, we had 5 dwarves. 4 or 5 dwarves. No, it was 5. We had all 5 dwarves. All 3 of our the king, 2 nobles, and 2 of our stronger warriors, and then 2 golems. And we did not do very well. So it ended up being a 2.5-hour ordeal, just doing a supply raid. Hopefully this time, running in with just the 3 golems from the get-go, we won't have that issue. Heading on over to the way station. We're looking. We're almost there. It may almost be time to liberate pins from the southern slave farm. We could honestly use some more labor back at the keep, but that is an issue for once we get our steel plates. Because once we get the steel plates, we'll be able to actively start producing steel plates automatically, which we can then use to. What are these? Okay, these guys. Yeah, these guys are gonna try and. Yeah, we're not getting involved with that. Once we can start actively producing steel plates, we can start getting involved with smithing. We can start getting more involved with creating our own weapons and armor. We can start outfitting people in a uniform instead of just having us use whatever scrap or armor or weapons we find laying around. We can make our faction start to look more like a faction instead of a ragtag band of miscreants. So back to the way station we go, as if we didn't just go through this. All right, let's see what the situation looks like in here. Yeah, so many of them are up and moving again, but their stats are good, but we should be fine. We should be fine. We're gonna send these 3 in first. Their job is to do the fighting. That's their whole position. And then I'm going to have Stream hold off on fighting, and his main objective here is, well, he has 2 primary objectives. So the first things first is I need him to put down the hammer. He's got to go martial arts. It's the only way he's even going to make it in here. So he's going to give his hammer to Zagan. Now that he has his hammer put down, he is going to rush in here. Well, they're drawing aggro. So all 3 of these guys need to have taunt on. That's the other thing. All 3 of them need to be taunting and pulling aggro. So while they're actively fighting, I'm going to run back here. And I'm going to attempt to steal. Ooh. Here we go. I'm going to attempt to steal as many of these. Oh, wait, no, I can't. Until these guys are all out. Okay, never mind. We gotta wait for the things to clear out. I'm a brainlet and forgot how Kenshi even fucking works, apparently. All right, so we're gonna have to clear out some of these guys. At least get them out of the building. Once they're out of the building, we can deal with them. Take the shopkeep out. Just kick him. Just kick him in the face. Kick him in the head. There we go. All right, no one's in here. We get Zagan in here as well. No, yes, get Zagan in here. That way we can transfer the loot over to him by proxy. All right. Hopefully we don't have a high 31% healing. Yeah, he got absolutely massacred. It's over for him. We got to deal with this ninja first. Is he dead or is he alive? Oh no, he just had his left leg completely. You just literally, what is it? Like spin kicked his leg off. We just got to be smart, and we got to be quick too, because there's a lot of foot traffic that moves through these way stations, right? So, if we're not quick about this, then we won't be able to do this long term. Like we'll fall apart. Yeah, not many. 54%. Come on, man. We're gonna have to do this like 2 at a time, which is infuriating. I don't need that. Yeah, we'll hang on. Okay, 3 of you, fantastic. Move this away. Another. Dagan. Come on, we just need steel plates. That's all we need. We're here exclusively for steel plates, and electrical components. We could always use those too. But we're primarily here for steel plates. If I have to put stuff back, like we can ditch the CPU unit. We don't actually need that. Yeah, we need to keep the hammer. Obviously, that's Stream's primary weapon at the moment. We'll take the electrical components. Just cheese it a little bit. I just don't want Zagan to run out of here, because he will too, which is the frustrating part. So, like, I have to kind of cheese it a little bit. But, you know, what are you going to do? Cats. Right, there's another box down here. Boom. And once we fill Zagan's inventory up, we'll fill up Kenji's, and then once Kenji's is full, we should be able to get the hell out of Dodge. Should. Big emphasis on that should. So we'll let Kenji go back to fighting. I mean, we'll let Zagan go back to fighting. So Zagan, you get out of here. Maybe you stay in here. No, you stay in here. There we go. All right, and back to looting. We just got to get as many steel plates as possible. Kenji, you're in the way. I scoot him out of the way real fast. Yeah, and my hope is that this trip doesn't last very long. Another 2.5 hour stream of me just barely surviving. I don't want to lose that, but we may have to. We may have to. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'll get more later. I'm not worried about it. I'd rather have the materials right now. I'm doing it for the materials. That's all. I'm doing it for the materials. NG. We rearrange it all? No. All right. Do we really need these things? Are they that good? They're okay. That staff is Edgewalker type, but it's still really, it's just blunt. I'll get that. That. And not gonna do much. We gotta get rid of one of these swords. Which one? Get rid of the Odachi. It's bigger and it looks cooler, but it also takes up. Its stats aren't quite as good, so we'll get rid of that one. All right, and then you can't fit nothing because you. Okay. All right, I think we're good. Get the hell out of Dodge. And we're out. It was quick in and out. No 2-hour conflict here. No, sir. Honestly, I'm truly impressed with how smooth that just went. Are we the baddies? We might be the baddies. We're performing raids now. We went from being like a clan of honorable dwarves to performing raids now. How the mighty have fallen. Doesn't have any... No. All right, so we're going to have to go back to the base before we can do any kind of repair. Yeah, I mean, that went super smooth comparatively. I really thought that was going to be a pain in the ass again, but no, it was good. It was good. He was good. They did. They dug too deep and they got greedy. Absolutely. But that's okay. But that's okay. Because that's what we do. We're dwarves. We are the dwarves of Clan Angler. Samurai Scouts. We should be fine. Again, we're not hostile with them yet. Thankfully. It would be dope. It would be dope. Unfortunately, we're more like fish dwarves because fish people dwarves. Unironically, you know, we liberated the Fishman Isles from the fishmen, but then we kind of like took over their location, and now we subsist mostly on crab, which is really funny. Well, bread now, but it's funny. It's like we cleared the goblins out of Moria, except instead it was we cleared the fishmen out of the Fishman Isles. That's where Pins is being held over there. I'm almost tempted to say we do a prison run. I think, you know what? Fuck it. I think we can. I think we can. We're here. I'm gonna literally run in, grab Pins, and get out. I'm just gonna run right in and grab Pins and get out. So I'm actually gonna move Pins into this chest. Pins was one of the recruits that we had gotten earlier in a much earlier episode, and we had them run towards the base, and the hope was that they would get to the base on their own. They ended up getting knocked out. I left them for dead, thinking, oh, you know, it's over. Like they're not, you know, it's over. And then they didn't. Is that where Pins is? Oh no, Pins is down here. Okay, well, we're gonna send you over here, and then I'm actually gonna send the 3 golems back. All right, so the golems are headed back. Dream is currently headed over towards Pins. I'm doing a prison break while we're here too. I'm gonna get our last dwarf out of here. Sloshing around in the swamp. Nasty stuff. But yeah, we're doing a prison break. I think Pins has been suffering long enough sitting in as a slave over in this random slave camp. Pins has definitely been suffering long enough. So I'm literally gonna run over, pick her up, and then head out. I think we're in a position where we can finally do that. For a long while, that was not even something I could fathom doing. But I think we're there now. I think the stream will be quick enough to get out. He usually runs around 25 to 30 miles an hour, so he's fast for someone who's got such tiny legs. Hopefully. Where's Pins? Pins is in a cage. All right, so there's gonna be the first obstacle. So I'm gonna sprint in. We're allowed to be in here, thankfully. Pick you up. Fantastic. And then I'm going to haul it. Just hoof it out of here. Thank you. This is mine now. Is no one going to say anything? No one even said anything. No one even said a fucking thing. Fantastic. Kenshi. They don't even care. What's one slave anyway? It's fine. Good crap stats as it is. Yeah, they don't even care. No skin off my nose. They do be I literally walked in and walked out. They didn't try nothing. They didn't even say a damn thing. Didn't say a fucking thing. Didn't say a friggin' thing. Absolutely ridiculous. Is he gonna do this the long way? He is. Hopefully I can get over to a land bridge where I can actually move. Here, I'll have him swim over here. What are you guys doing? They are not moving much faster. Although I can't really complain, I guess, so. Alright, so we'll get you three back to the base so we can start utilizing... I doubt they pay them at all, to be honest with you. To be honest with you, I doubt they pay them at all. The slavers get paid in the joy of not being slaves. That's their payment. If you work for us, you don't have to work for us. Wanted in the United Cities for 7,500 cats. That is a good start right there. That is good for theft and kidnapping. Fantastic. I refute the idea. I do. I refute the idea. I'll have you know that I had Stream put his hammer into Zagan's inventory, so... I don't usually do 3 times speed while I'm on stream because it just gets a little choppy, but Kenshi does, not the stream. The Kenshi gets choppy when you go 3 times for too long, especially when you have so many people in different areas like I do currently. But I also want to get back to the base quickly so I can start putting these things together and getting production moving. Because once production's moving and we can build our own weapons, build our own armor, all of that stuff, and start getting the Dwarves uniform, that is one more... That makes us one step closer to the inevitable goal of, you know, marching on the Shet Kingdom. Although, who knows, at this rate, we may end up having to take out the UC first. But the goal is now, as it originally was, to go after the Shet Kingdom. As for the United Cities, because we have the mercenaries after us, and we also have... we pissed off the mercenaries and the tech hunters, my hope is that we're going to send somebody into a UC city, put them on block, so that way they won't fight back at all, right? Because then they won't get an assault charge. What we do is we let the mercenaries attack us, and then when they attack us, we never fight back, right? So we don't get an assault charge, but they do. And they will kill the mercenaries, they'll kill the tech hunters, the United Cities will. And in doing so, it will actually cause the relation between the two factions to break apart. And then they will start killing across the entirety of the United Cities. The United Cities will start attacking tech hunters, and they'll start attacking mercenaries on site once they become hostile. And then I can instigate a 3-way war between them. The downside is that means that some cities will become a perpetual war zone to some capacity. But honestly, it's worth it because it will make the later conquest of the United States much easier because I'll have effectively destabilized them from the inside without having to lift a finger. And that'll be great. All right, let's get these guys into the base. You guys, head on over here. On over there. You. That is going to be really tough. There are some stats that take forever to load. Like you'll probably have a good easy time with like, you know, dexterity, strength, martial arts, all that stuff. Weapon stats will probably be easy-ish. But there's some that's gonna just be absolute nightmare, an absolute nightmare. Like 100, getting 100 toughness, you'd think it'd be easy, but later levels it's really difficult. The other thing too is that you have to farm consistently against harder and harder enemies in order to get the stats that high, unless you're using like certain equipment or workout mods or anything like that. Like I have one on that lets me train athletics and strength and stuff like that. It's the gym equipment mod, but unless you're utilizing things like that, it gets really difficult. Are those gorilla bandits? Got to avoid them. They will mess me up, unfortunately. Unfortunately, they will mess me up. I am not currently equipped to deal with gorilla bandits. They are martial artists with stats. Yeah, cooking, science, all that stuff. Farming, 100 farming. It's not like it's hard. It just takes for fucking ever. Elder beak things. Is that... 1, 2... There are 4 elder beak things perusing the outside of my base right now. The outside of Gazumi Keep. Being haunted by 4 elder beak things. We need to get some food in this boy right now. He is hungry. He's a hungry, but both of them are. But Streamer's he's withering away, so we gotta get some food in him. Luckily, once we get back to the base, we'll have a shit ton of bread. What do I think the hardest stat to level up is? Probably weapon and armor smithing. It's just such a bitch. It takes forever. Science is pretty easy, I would say. It just time consuming. A lot of the sciences are easy. Pretty much any of the trade skills. I think the trade skills are probably the hardest. And the trade and thievery skills, like assassination and assassination it can be difficult. It's farmable, but it's, again, they just take time. All of them are relatively easy to do in terms of like what you have to do. It's just some take far longer than others because of like the resources available to you by default. So like I would say that the thievery stuff is probably the hardest, like assassination and shit like that, just because by default it's not like you can just there's not as many opportunities. You know? Stop. We gotta unlock. You get the hell over here. Hold your position. No. You know what? Get your own shackles off. There we go. Take your shackles off. What? The squad. All right, we'll put you back. You guys in here. Put the golems back in the golem bin. Fantastic. All right, so Pins is back, no longer enslaved, which is cool. Stream needs to get over here and get some food as well. But before he can do that, I need him to dump all of his iron plates into this iron refinery. He's going to start passing out from hunger in a second. But that is a risk I'm willing to take because I need this stuff taken care of. All right, so once that's done, we can start collecting loot from left leg, right arm, right leg, right arm. Do we have anybody that's missing any right limbs? I think we just have Cat who's missing a left arm. Yeah, okay. Who else is listed as an engineer on here? There it is. Fantastic. So you need to go over to Zig and start pulling iron plates. That's what we need, iron plates. And then I'm actually going to place this bedroll on Zagan as well because it's always good to have. It's always good to have a bedroll just hanging out on your on one of your guys, on one of the golems, just because we bring them when we go places. So like it's always good to have that that there. You know what? Actually, here's an idea. This is for building materials, right? And then where's my iron plates? There they are. Here, I'm gonna have Zagan and have all the golems pop in here real fast. I'm just going to put them into the storage container. That's probably the easier way to do it. Fantastic. Kenshi, same deal. Hopefully, that's enough. And then where's the electrical components? These are up here, I believe. Yeah, yeah. That's what we want. That's the good shit right there. And yeah, okay. What are you doing right now? No, no, no. Go take whatever you're doing and build that. You need to get all this shit built. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do another run, which I really would prefer to avoid. But I might have to, because they're grabbing everything to do random projects, which, like, I get, but also stop doing that. we need this so we can make our own. But we may not have grabbed enough, which would really suck. Yeah, I think we're going to be just a couple short. We are going to be just a couple short. Looks like we're about 8 short, which is awesome. All right. That's all right. We just need to go get some more, but first things first, let's get pins fitted with something, because right now she's just, her and Taco both. We need to get both of them. Both of them need to be outfitted. They're in literal rags right now. What do we got? Any clothes? No, just robotic limbs. That's dandy. Yeah, we have no clothes for them at the moment, I don't think. Why would we? All right, well, make do. Pins, what's your job function here going to be? I think. Well, what's Tanko doing? He's operating the bread ovens. How much ore do we have? Do we have an iron resource section, or are we just only the plates and stuff? I don't know if we actually have a spot for raw iron. Raw stone, copper, iron plates, building materials. Plates. Yeah, we don't have a box for straight iron, do we? Raw stone. Yeah, we need straight iron is what we need. Is it storage? Raw iron. Ore. Cost 1 iron plate to build. Isn't that ironic? Isn't that ironic? Could be. This into 12 in a minute. Built, but it's not gonna get built quite yet because I have to have the iron plates to do it, and I didn't grab enough, which is awesome. That's lovely. Okay, and I'm gonna go and grab some meal kits. Take some of those because this boy does not. Or he's probably gonna put half of them back. That should keep him fed for a while. Yeah. Bashu, he's not researching anything. Are we out of things to have we already researched everything? Because if so, I gotta get more research going. Get more research rolling. We need AI core, tech bench level 5. What's it cost to upgrade this thing? Iron plates. It's always iron plates. Why is everything we need iron plates? All right, fair enough. See what we can do on this end then. Get the research benches done. Defense, harpoon turrets, get those done. Advanced harpoonery. We are out of ancient science book. That works out. I think Zagan has one. We can use that. Generators, ultimate repair beds, searchlights. Worried about any of that stuff. Industry, smithing. Let's see what we can do for smithing. Better weapons grades, better weapons grades. Advanced. Okay, so we need some advanced science books as well. Well, it looks like we're going out on a journey. Let's see to where, though. Where can we go in the immediate vicinity? We could always run up Cheater's Run. I don't know if there's actually anything there. I can't recall. You know what we are going to do, though? We'll do a quick little LARP over to the island lab. That's what we'll do. Quick little romp back over there and see what we can find. Dodge the crabs. There's gonna be a bunch of fishmen over here too, so we'll have to dodge them as well. My main thing is I need to get iron plates. So if they have iron plates there, we'll be using the iron plates. Switch that chain shirt because quality one versus this one, and actually I can get rid of that one. I feel less bad about getting rid of that one. So we got to make our way over to the old laboratory. See what else is there. What things we can farm. While they're doing that, we'll keep getting our research back at the base. Once we upgrade our research bench, I think instead of upgrading the research bench, I'll probably upgrade it and then I'll move it because the location that it's in right now is not preferential. It's kind of out of the way. Like it's in the way of everything. So send you up here. His martial arts should stack over 100 once he's inside. So even though there's probably going to be some fishmen in here, we should be able to avoid any real issue. Yeah, you see here all those footprints. That's fishmen. Yeah, so they're gonna fight. All right. Hopefully he can hold his own. He should be. He's pretty tough. He's indoors. He's got massive martial arts. The issue is that his dodge suffers quite a bit because I don't want to keep him as a martial artist forever. He's a martial artist temporarily because that's what he's stacked at. But I want to give him heavy weapons, but he's just not efficient in them yet. So for things like this where he's running solo, it's better to let him utilize what he's good at. Yeah, let him go. Yeah, just let him drop him. His dodge is actually quite a bit higher. It's supposed to be 60, so he could be dodging most of these hits, but again, the heavy armor is... He's actually tanking quite a few hits right now. Hopefully he can finish these guys off soon. He is taking quite the beating though, so it's gonna be... Yeah, finish him off. And one left. Oh. The hell? He got... There was one left and he got knocked out. He's a juggernaut, so I only allowed myself to recruit one of them. They're part of a mod called the Juggernaut mod. They have increased HP and recovery. The downside is their hunger goes down 3 times as fast. But there's juggernauts replaced. You know, I think there's 4 of them throughout the course of the map that you can recruit. I told everyone in an earlier stream that I had it, but I was only going to recruit one. I let people vote on whether or not I'd recruit them at all. They said go ahead, but recruit one. So I have one Juggernaut, and that's him. Nope. Nearing, that's cool. Fishman camp, don't need it. Right now, he went night-night. I have enough AI cores. I know, wild thing to say. I have enough AI cores. I don't need them. I have like 5 of them back at the base. 5 or 6. I have enough to do the things that I need to do anyway. I'm not being greedy here. Dwarven spear. We love the spear. Take that. Okay. Battle pick. That's very dwarf. That's very dwarvish. We'll take that. Take a battle pickaxe. Some more locks. Yeah. This also double helps because it allows us to train his lockpicking skill. My justification on the Juggernaut mod too is that I have what is it, NPC spawn rates, like squad sizes increased to ×3, so the squads for enemies are between 2 and 3 times as large. I think it's 2.5 is what I have it on. So there's more enemies. I also have quite a few mods that add some really, really tough enemies as well. So, you know, it's there, especially when we go to raid actual factions, like when we go to charge and siege cities and stuff later on in the campaign. It won't matter nearly as much. I mean, we had a 2.5-hour encounter in a way station the other last stream, and the stream went down like 4 times. So imagine what it's going to be when we try to raise the Shet Kingdom or the United States or Holy Nation. It will not go well. That is for sure. It's going to be devastating regardless. So, not concerned about it being that much easier. That's for sure. I should be able to take these 4. They're not even alphas. They're just normal. There's one alpha. Oh, but he's using that spear. I'll put the spear down for a minute. I just want to bring the spear back because it's a dwarven spear. Alright. Yeah, back up. Here, can I actually rest in this bed? Does it give me a healing bonus? It does. It heals me 2 times fast. Look at that. Funny. Does it chain pole arms? Is that what it does? Yeah, pole arms. I'd rather... Oh, no. And I have to carry the spear. He's running around like a fucking goon because his arm... Yeah, so I broke both of their arms, so they're just running around like goons. So since they're doing that, he's trying to heal. We're not going to let him do that. Are there any crates around here that I can dig through? These ones. Again, we're mainly here for ancient science books. That's pretty much the entire reason that we'll just dig through till we find them, because we want to start crafting our own equipment. And in order to do that, I need the research. Yeah, he keeps trying, so I'm just gonna poke him to death. You know what? You kill him. There we go. All right, pick the spear back up. Thank you, and get back to picking that lock. None of these guys are going to do anything. I broke both of both their arms on both of them, so there's no worry about that. Dwarven Maul, there's another one. I love it. This one's not that great though. It, yeah, it's pretty good. You know, I'm just going to stockpile mauls. I have one back at the base already. I'm just going to stockpile Dwarven. Start giving them to everybody. Everybody gets a maul. You get a maul, and you get a maul. Everybody gets a maul. Gurgle, gurgle, indeed, fishman. They're just sad because I committed genocide against their leader. And the hundreds of thousands of them that were patrolling this island. Again with the samurai spec. I feel like these are static loot. Every time I do any kind of import, those exact things are always in there. Like itching me like crazy. Okay, well I got what I needed, which was advanced science books. So we'll head back now. Head back to the keep. Welcome to everybody that just joined. We're up to 14 viewers so far. You know, keep on keeping on. Hopefully we'll see another bump, another boost soon. So it's funny, I find that weekday streams tend to get more viewers in here, which I wonder what the reasoning behind that is. Is it like weekends people are usually out doing stuff in the evenings? Because I stream in the evenings, so I wonder why that is. I feel like it's probably just people are more likely to be at home hanging out on the weekdays. Alright, so we're back. We're going to send him back inside. Transfer those ancient science books over so we can get this part set up. And then the next step is to get more steel plates. Fantastic. Let's get more research going. Basic weapons. We need advanced weapons. Advanced weapon grades 2. And we need, research bench? Yeah, so I think we might be SOL until we get to advanced research benches. There are other things that we can research, but we're missing a lot of the required material. For sure. Might sneeze, hold on. Oh, I'm okay. Wait. Excuse me. Hopefully my muting of my mic worked. I don't want to blow anyone's eardrums out with that. Wooden dexterity dominee. Okay, I think in terms of like stone mine. Yeah, okay. I think in terms of weapons and research and all that stuff, we're pretty much at our peak. I don't think we're gonna get much better than that. We have a Mightow for you. You're using an axe. Who is our next best fighter? I think it's James Pruitt. So we're gonna give him. We're gonna give Nines a maul. I think that's what we're gonna do. Nines uses a heavy weapon. I think that he is worthy of a maul. Yeah, it's a little bit less strong, but I'm totally fine with that. We're gonna give James. We're gonna give him the Consabo, or however you pronounce it. I have no fucking idea. We're gonna give Cat. What's Cat use? He uses a Tachi, a good Tachi too. All right, we're gonna take the combat cleaver off of Ridley. Give Ridley better weapon. Actually, what's Rusty use? Got decent stats, doesn't he? Yeah, Rusty's got real good stats. He uses a polearm. That works out. We're gonna give him the Dwarven spear. So, oh, I never picked it back up. I'm a brainlet. That's fine. He's getting a pickaxe then. Because we're dwarves and we don't use that crap. We use dwarven weapons, pole arms, like pole arms and axes and picks. Pretty standard stuff, really. All right, so now we got to figure out where this is going. I'm gonna have stream dual-wield katanas for right now. I'm going to drop that whole arm. He's going to dual-wield katanas. We got to get him worked up on that. Now the big question, the big problem is that we need to figure out how to get more steel plates. We need 8 more. Excuse me. Yeah, we need 8 more steel plates. We have a little bit of money, but not that much. We could probably do a run to Catan and buy them legitimately. Or at the very least, we could instigate a bar fight there and then steal them in the aftermath. I mean, we're already, at this point, the bad guys. And I don't really feel like running all the way back to that way station over here. Catan is right there. We might just take a run to Catan. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have Zagan. What's he got in his inventory? Oh, do those. We're going to have Zagan and Stream go do that. And I'll probably send King Vishu with him too. He's got a maul. Who else needs a maul? That's the question here. Who else needs a maul? Ruth is using an axe, which is pretty dwarvish. I'm down with that. We'll give the other maul to James Bro. That's what we'll do. He's using the Kosuba, but I think I'd rather have him have the maul. We're going to give him this bag for now. And then I might actually... I know this is a really... like a Catan Model 9, but I may end up actually selling this just for the sake of having money to grab... grab more steel plates. I'm going to reorient my squad maps. I have people that are actually, like my strongest units a little higher up. Flick Dune. What's Dune got going on? Have I looked at him at all? He's got okay situation. We'll leave him right. We'll leave him right. All right. So we're off. Yeah, we're going to Catan. King Vishu, Lord Stream, Zagan. You know, fuck it. We'll bring Kenshi. We need as much inventory space as possible on this. What's he got in here right now? Topper. We can sell that. He's got health kits in case we get jumped by beak things. That should be fine. That should be enough. All right, the 4 of you are headed out. We'll just keep producing back here. Again, the end goal here is that we want to, you know what? I'm going to open us up to the public too, so we start getting traders out this way. I doubt any of them are going to make it, but we may be able to get a couple of traders in this way. The end goal here is to be able to produce our own weapons, our own armors, get all of our dwarves uniformed, produce our own food, 100% self-sufficiency. Once we do that, we can start outfitting all of our dwarves, building our army even higher, getting them, you know, souped up with really good gear, and then we can start like properly raiding settlements and whatnot. So we have a plan. It's just going to take some time. Obviously, we're 10 episodes in. Why are you guys going this way? Supposed to be headed towards Catan. What are you guys doing, you fucking buffoons? Absolute silly gooses, you buffoons. I'm gonna go double speed so I can adequately dodge beak things if I have to. Are you guys moving at different speeds? You guys shouldn't be moving at different speeds. Fantastic. Keep it going. Keep it going. Those are guerrilla bandits. We need to dodge them. We are unfortunately not equipped to deal with guerrilla bandits. Actually, those are skin bandits. But yeah, we're not equipped to deal with guerrilla bandits right now. They are unfortunately beyond us. I regret to say. Pains me to admit that they are not something we can deal with at the moment. But they are not something we can deal with at the moment. Martial artists with what is it? Dealing with 10 or 12 martial artists with stats in the 50s is not great. This is why I don't mind using the Juggernaut, because even though the Juggernaut has really high health, like look at the squad size here. This is crazy. Even a Juggernaut's going to get clapped by this, so I'm really not worried about having a unit that has higher stat, like higher HP and stuff by default. It's just it doesn't really matter in the long run. That's for sure. In an ideal world, we'd find a beak thing nest nearby, and I'd be able to raid their eggs too. Bring those and sell those. But I don't think that's going to happen. It would be cool though. I'm also going to save just because I get that feeling sometimes. Yeah. Head up into Catan, sell off that extra weapons and armor, try to get the last remaining steel plates that we need. If anyone has any suggestions for anything they want to see, anything they want us to do, anything like that, do let me know. I'm always happy to accommodate. This is a very interactive run on Kenshi, so you know, I'm always open to suggestions on what you guys want to see, what you guys want us to do. So hopefully tech hunters don't own this shop. That's always the worst. Cool. Venus, show me your goods. Fantastic. We're gonna sell you. We're gonna sell you. We're gonna sell you. Fantastic. And we're gonna load up on steel plates. Load up on steel plates. Load up on steel plates. And load up on steel plate. Full electrical components. You room for electrical components on your end? No, now you have room. Awesome. And furniture. Anything not furniture related? Like, I want to go to the weapon shop too. I might be able to get some good research over there that I can use for when we start crafting our own weapons. My hope is that I can get the dwarven research, but I don't know where they sell it. It might be one of those things where I have to go to like World's End or Mongrel to do it. Doc, I don't care about what you have to say. All right. Combat cleaver for alarm. Versus exotic weapons. Falling sun. Plate mace, that may be something useful that we can use. We'll see what else they have. Yeah, they don't have anything dwarf or any of the dwarf weapons in terms of research, which is upsetting, but not that surprising. Plate maces could be fun. What's the damage setup? They deal extra damage to humans and robots, which is good. But is that what we want to focus on? Because, well, it says humans, but Shek are considered humans in terms of gameplay. They're structured different. So it'll deal extra damage to Shek, which is good. They're blunt, which is good. Should we just run with plate maces? Just have the entire more than half the dwarves running with plate maces? That'd be funny. Just giant fucking maces that they're using to beat people. We might hang on. Either plate maces or combat cleave. I think both could be fine. But it may be how much is the plate mace? Because I might just grab 7,000. Yeah, we'll grab it. We'll grab it. Okay, so now we can start. We'll make plate maces. We'll start outfitting people with plate maces. That's what we'll start with. Is there an armor shop around here? I know that the ranger shop here is run by the tech hunters, so we can't go in there. There'll be thieves. We could go in there, but we're not going to. General shop. There's 2 bars. I think we're gonna avoid them for now. Outpost. We'll go see what the Shinobi Thieves had and then I think we'll call it from there. We'll head back to base and get moving on production. Let's trade. What do we got? Anything good? Actually, yeah, they have pretty cool looking stuff, but I don't think it's anything that I want. Not that I can really, put much in my pack right now. I guess it's kind of irrelevant. I don't really. That's fine. Yeah, we'll take what we can get for right now. So let's head back to base and start production. We need to get an armor shop at some point so we can, or get to an armor shop at some point so we can get some, armor schematics that we can build. But we can start with the plate mace. That's a good enough start. We can outfit all of the dwarves outside of like our nobility who uses Maitao weapons with plate mace. That'll at least help us during our combat with the ye old Shek Kingdom. Oh, we got a big thing. We got a big thing. There's one? No. There's a couple. No, there's a couple. Okay. Kenshi and Zagan stay back here. Full aggro. Kenshi over here. They'll be fine. They'll almost definitely be fine. They're pretty stacked. I'm not worried about it. And then they can just meet us back at the base when they're done. Yeah, they'll be fine. Oh, hold on. Yep, Kenshi crashed. Well, that happens. Hopefully we got an autosave. It's Kenshi. It crashes quite frequently. I say frequently. It crashes every so often. Fine. I don't know where the last autosave was. As for ignore the stack buffer, by the way. That's a whole other thing I'm dealing with. Anyway, do I have a thief? I do have a thief that I'm working on building up right now, which is James Pro. Wow, why is Kenshi crashing? What is happening? Okay. Hold on. Hold on. Hey, how you doing? Try this again. Two crashes in a row. That's weird. All right, though. We'll see what happens. We just got to get back in game. We'll be fine. There we go. Kenshi. Oh, no. I think it... Yeah, okay. I'm going to have to go back through and repurchase all that stuff. No big deal. I'll run back in and grab it. This is why we save. I said right before we walked into Catan, save. I had a feeling something was going on. This is why we save. Kenshi. No big deal. All right, we'll run back in real fast. We'll get the stuff, and then we'll get out. Make a nice quick trip. Squiggly, nice to see you. Happy to have you. You joined at the perfect time, right when I crashed. It's funny, I went the whole last stream without crashing. Part of it's because Kenshi, by default, is a pretty intensive... I don't like quick saving because it bloats the save file too much, so I try to avoid doing it doing it too much. It's kind of like back in the days of the old, what is it? Back in the old Elder Scrolls days, Skyrim. If you save too often, it bloats the save file. Oh, Panda. Hey, how are you? I didn't realize it was you. Good to see you. Yeah. So if you quick save too much, it can bloat the save file. Kenshi's just one of those games where it crashes sometimes. It kind of comes with the territory. You know, everybody's well aware of what Kenshi is. It's no big deal. We'll just quickly sell. Does Vishu have hair now? Why does he have hair? He was bald a minute ago. That's concerning. Did he grow hair? Yeah, if you save too much, you'll bloat your save file out, and then it becomes more unstable. You're more prone to crashing. So you want to save frequently, but you don't want to oversave, because if you oversave, it can lead to bloat, and that was too many. I didn't buy that many. If you oversave, you can lead to bloat, and nobody wants that, because then your save is unstable and it becomes harder to load in the future. There are ways around it. The other thing too is that Kenshi by default is a very memory intensive game, because the engine is out of date. And then you factor that into play in conjunction with the fact that I'm streaming, which is using some of the memory, and sometimes you have a memory crash, which is what that just was just now. So it's I'm concerned as to why Vishu has hair. He was definitely bald before, but that's fine. We're gonna go back in and get our plate mace, and then we're gonna head back. Tell me your stock. I don't care about anything you have to say. I want the plate maze blueprint, which should be where down here. Plate mace. Fantastic. All right, and now we're gonna head back to Kazumi Keep. And the other thing too is I actually hit 3 times speed. I meant to hit double. When you're moving at 3 times speed, the game can sometimes crash due to memory, because it's trying to load too many chunks at once, and it just becomes a whole thing. And then in addition to that, my settings are set up for the sake of reducing load time on the whole by preloading large chunks ahead of time. But what that means is that when I move into a new area, it's going to try and load larger chunks when I move beyond what I have already loaded. And if you're moving at 3 times speed, you have a lot of stuff going on in multiple areas, and you're jumping back and forth between characters too much, it'll cause a memory crash. A lot of it, again, is just the byproduct of Kenshi's out-of-date engine. It's just, is what it is. Everybody that plays Kenshi knows, if you play Kenshi, you're going to crash. Again, I don't know why Vishu has hair. That's weird. But it's no big deal. These things happen. I usually expect at least one crash a stream, every 3-4. Last stream I didn't. Stream before that I did once, and then I think the stream before that I didn't either. Every other stream I usually crash at least one, just because Kenshi. Surprisingly, though, my game is actually pretty stable. I know that it sounds like I crash a lot, but that's basically one crash every 8 to 9 hours, give or take. Like my streams usually run 3.5 hours. I crash every other stream usually, and then I also play in between, like when I'm not streaming, and I don't usually crash. So, I'll take it. I think it's a pretty decent ratio given the situation. If I was playing like Elder Scrolls, I would accept that. A heavily modded Elder Scrolls run, I'd accept that ratio. Back over there so we can start building our stuff. But now that we did that, I'm going to save, because I don't want to have to go buy that stuff a 3rd time. That would be annoying. Come on, don't pull aggro. Stay away from me, devil giraffes. The biggest downside of setting up in by the Fishman Isles is the fucking big things, man. Even getting out of the no, come on. Got 2 on us. Nope. Okay. The biggest downside of setting up over here is that you have natural defense, but also you regularly have to fight for your life to even leave your base. Super frustrating. Depth of field back on. Nope, nope. Get in the base. What are you guys doing? Get in the base. God. What are you guys doing? This bridge is so stupid. Intermittently, like probably every 2 or 3 times I load up the save, or even every other time I come over here, not just in this save, but in general, this last section of the bridge sometimes just likes to think that it's blocked. The nav mesh just doesn't want to function. Downside of having that massive fucking bridge there. Okay. We're gonna boot up right there, and we're gonna go here. We need to get steel plates. That's what we need right here. Once this is built, they can put the rest of the steel plates wherever the hell they want. I just need this taken care of. Oh, get over here, add materials. Nope, get over here, add materials. Add materials. There we go. Okay, now they can do whatever they want with the rest of the steel plates. I don't really care. That's built. That's the main thing. I keep saying steel plates. Iron plates. Iron plates. They're not steel, they're iron. Yeah, they can do whatever they want with the rest of them. I just needed that stuff taken care of, because once that's built, we can make more, right? So it's not the end of the world. And then I will have, now that they're not traveling, take them out of the squad. You there, you go back there, up. Fantastic. And then we're going to have pins operating this. Do we need anybody operating this? I don't think we do. Yeah, we're going to have pins operating that. This is what you do now. We shouldn't have much of a need for building materials at this point, but we will have an automatic building material machine set up in the event that we do. Yeah, all we have to do is load the thing. So Pins' whole job now is just to keep this loaded. Do we have anybody mining? Is that anything I have set up right now? I think I did, but then, yeah, okay. So Ridley, your new job is to mine. That's what you... That's usually totally fine. Nines, yeah, your job is to mine too. Same with you, Rusty. This is all you do. You guys mine iron. This is all that you do. This is your whole job, your entire life. So we'll get that rolling, and now we have an endless supply of steel plates, which is great because, or near endless. So now we can start setting up our. Well, firstly, we can upgrade this thing right here. Upgrade. And steel plates for that. So we can upgrade this. We can start getting better tech. Once we get better tech, we can start building more things. I am going to decide what building I'm going to use as our blacksmith. Our batteries in here. This was originally going to be where we produced food, but I decided not to do that. Right now, it's where we keep our straw, our wheat straw at, but it's not going to be permanent. So, you know, Peeled banana, welcome. Those are lovely bananas that you have. Thank you for joining us. I gotta decide what building is going to be our production building. I'm thinking maybe this longhouse, maybe this L house once it's done being built. What's left on this? Just iron plates. Yeah. Once this is built, I think we're gonna make that L house there. So this should be done shortly. Now that we can produce iron plates, and then we can start setting up our own weapons manufacturing, and after weapons will come the joy of creating our own armor. So the real question though is which one is going to end up being our smith, and I think it's going to be Grimdark. I really think that's befitting, not just like for the sake of the fact that he only is an engineer, but also if anybody knew like the real Grimdark, I think that making him a smith is I think it's fitting. I think it's really fitting. So, basic weapon grades 5. Oh wait, hello. What is this? Yes. Okay, we can make armor now too. I downloaded a mod a while ago that I was thinking about the other day about using as our main our main armor for the dwarves, and it's the Dawnguard armor. And I think that the plated Dawnguard armor would be fantastic. And in addition to the Dawnguard armor, we can also get armor for gorillos. So you can recruit gorillos. Like I can forcibly recruit gorillos with a Tame Animals mod because I have that on. And then we can armor up the gorillos so they almost look like armored trolls from Dawnguard. So I'm thinking gorillos for our tamed animals. We'll have like a vanguard of gorillos that we send in, armored gorillos, and then all of our dwarves will be outfitted in Dawnguard armor. That's how I'm. That's what I'm thinking for the end game here. It's all coming together. It's all coming together. It's all coming together. Blintz, ain't worried about that. Core, tech level 6, but we'll make that the end. 20 times gonna take 8 hours. Ridiculous. Yeah, I mean we have a lot of stuff we gotta research. Harpoon auto turrets. Again, I'm not really... I'm putting some effort into the defensive upgrades, but, like, I'm really not concerned. There's 2 to 4 Elder Beak things wandering out here pretty much at all times. I'm largely unconcerned with defending this place. And even if they get in, whatever remnant manages to get over here is not going to survive very long. I have no doubt of that. I will, for the sake of ensuring that we're, relatively safe. We need steel bars, copper plates, electrical components. Yeah, so we will need to upgrade those at some point. But we do have a couple of crossbow turrets up here. It's not anything fancy, but again, I really am unconcerned with defending this place. We need to get this building built now. So is there anybody producing? Why is this not producing? Okay, that's why. I need someone to be consistently working that building. I can't have any of them doing it because they're working the... What do you do? What do you specialize in? Yeah, he's got laboring. He was science and field medic, so that's not going to be helpful. Biofuel distillery. I feel like she's largely not doing stuff most of the time. We're pretty stacked on fuel too. I mean, I think at this point we're pretty stacked on fuel. What's our fuel reserves look like? I might have her take a break from running these and have her instead focus on building. Yeah, I mean we're set. We got 51 fuel. If we run out of fuel at any point, we'll be fine. It's good. I'm gonna have her focus on this for now. We need to get some building materials made. Once building materials are being made, we can finish up this building. I can make the smith, and then we can go from there. The keep is coming along nicely. Actually, you know what? For shits and giggles, I'm actually gonna make the smith in here. This area is largely empty, and this is supposed to be our industrial sector, whereas this is more residential. So I think I'm gonna make the smith in here. We have this building is our battery bank. This is our tavern / like food source. But for the most part, these buildings need to remain residential. I think I'm gonna put a building in here, and I'm gonna make this where we produce, where we do our smithing. I think that's the right move. That's the right move. I've decided. I'm a decider. The real question is, what building do I want to do this? And I'm thinking I don't know, something wide I feel like is probably the best move just because it makes the most sense for the shape. I would turn this into this building has to get moved at some point too, but my house, no. Step house. Do I have a step house from here yet? I don't do. I don't. Maybe I'll make this into my the wall here. Is there I can flip it through. That's a single piece, right? So maybe, just maybe, put it right there. And then if I remove this section of wall right here, and then just use the Shift F12 to kind of float this over a little bit, it might actually look pretty cool to have it be right there. That may look kind of nice, kind of neat. There, where would the front door be? The front door would be right here. Yeah, right here. So I would have to move this whole section of the wall, which I feel like would kind of defeat the purpose. Maybe we'll move it somewhere else. I do think that having this building with the smith would be a good move. I don't want to like put it diagonally here so I can get the door lined up because then it you know, I can delete this corner here. That looks kind of cool. And it would line up right because then I can just delete these three sections, this corner section. It would line up pretty nicely. Yeah, okay. I think that's what we'll do. I think that's a good way to go. Kind of fits with the theme of what I did over here with the warehouse too. So, okay, so we're gonna remove short wall right there, and that will end up being where where our smith goes. And again, it adds an extra layer of defense. Not that anyone's going to be attacking us from back here, but if they did, we'll have this watchtower here, and then up here we can also, you know, deck out with turrets. So hopefully we're moving pretty quick here. Hopefully things are moving quite well. Things are looking pretty good for the Dwarves of Clan Angler. Things are looking pretty good. Steady supply of food going on. We've got production being done, research is happening. Building's done. I can start working on the smith. Is there anything else that I think we need in the immediate? We have batteries. I don't have the one downside is I don't have a copper source out here, and that sucks. We could definitely use a source of copper. Can I get a mine with that? Potentially? Is there research I can do to help with that? Because we have literally no way to source copper right now. No, I don't think so. So that's our big thing right now is we have no way to source copper. That's the shitey one. Building built, come in. I should probably get multiple of these running as well. I don't think I have enough electrical components to make another stone processor, but I could probably make more iron plates. I need someone hauling these too. We need more people. That's what we need. We need more people. Where can I quickly source more people from? I only have 3,000 cats. I won't be able to buy an effective number of slaves. How are you guys doing? Oof. A lot of people moving here. A lot of people moving. We've got Dune. Grimdark's 107 athletics. This man can... Oh, yeah, because he's got that robot leg. This man can move. Although he does have a 23% reduction because he's encumbered, because he's carrying all of his crap. He's weighed down by the weight of his responsibility. Ooh, we're gonna throw these limbs inside this chest because we constantly have a we have a shit ton of limbs. We have a shit ton of limbs that we can use. You know, as go on. What leg was he missing? He was missing his left leg. Did I have a left leg this whole time? It did. It did. Not a great one. What kind of limb do I have? Is it a better one? It is. Scout leg versus this weird left leg. Wow. Okay. So why did I? Oh no, his leg wasn't the problem. It was Nine's arm and Cat's left arm. The left arm. We have two arms. Yeah, we need people. We need more people to do more jobs. And then once we have more jobs being filled out, we can start outfitting people. My hope is that within the next 2 episodes, we can like start attacking cities. We can start really, really doing the things that we set out to do as a faction. But you know, there's prep work involved, obviously. So, but the hope is that within the next 2 episodes, we can start really hammering away at this. Why is no one working this? What is this? What is this? Who's supposed to be working this? Get over here. Work this. What are you doing? We need building materials and we need it now. That's mining stone. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, people's the problem right now. We need people. So, in order to make that happen, I need money, firstly. So is there anything I can take with me to sell? We don't really need splint kits on us. It's funny how these guys have basically become glorified pack mules. That's like what I use them as. They're supposed to be like these badass fighters with, you know, these giant badass robots, and I basically have turned them into glorified pack mules at this point. Maybe. Let me see, because you might be right. I've looked through a lot of the island, but you might be right. So I'm gonna send I'll send the king out because he's doing research. I'll send Grimdark out. He's just running anyway. So Grimdark can come out here and prospect some of this island. Because you might be right, but as far as I know, I didn't see anywhere that had copper when I was looking last time. Got around here. Copper node. Nothing in the immediate. Oh, look at that. There is one right here, and it's a 1-person 50%er. You're a smart guy. Smarter than I, it would seem. All right, well then get your ass over here and start mining. All right, well Grimdark's mining. Look at that. Thank you. Never. Apparently, I'm an idiot and didn't know that there was a small copper node literally right over there. Welcome to everybody who just joined. We just broke 20. Happy to see it. We are almost there. We got a little mound of crabs over here doing crab things. Grimdark should be able to take a couple of crabs. He's got decent stats. Worst case, if any of them attack. Yeah, get this copper. I feel so stupid. I had no fucking idea that this copper node was over here this whole time. There was a whole point, I think like 2 episodes ago, that I literally went and bought copper because I was like, there's no copper on this island. There's no way. Literally right here. I can still see my units' names because they're that close. Utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. What are you doing? Mine the copper node. What are you doing? Mine the copper node. Why are you running away? Thank you so much for the memberships. I really appreciate it. Very, very thankful. 5 memberships. You absolute lad. Thank you so much. We got an absolute unit here. Yak, you're a patron, a saint. Scholar, a true scholar. And we have an official new member of the Mad Lads Guild. Thank you, sir. In honor of that, I will, as soon as I'm able to, I'll be renaming one of the dwarves in our faction over to you as well. Every Mad Lads member gets one of the dwarves named after them. So I will be renaming, I think, probably, you know what, I'll rename Nines. I'll be renaming Nines to Cosmic Yak. So absolutely welcome to the Mad Lads Guild, sir. Welcome to the Mad Lads Guild. Pretty soon we're going to have a Discord up and running. Stream and I are putting together the Discord for the channel. Once the Discord's up and running, you'll have access to that. You'll be entered in any giveaways or anything that we do on the channel automatically as a member of the Mad Lads Guild. So thank you again. Dude, we got some copper resources here. Which means if we have copper, that should be, we should be able to finish building generators too, so we can have more backup power, which is awesome. We also have so much battery on charge too, which is good. Yeah, we'll either be renaming Nines or the next dwarf that joins our merry band will be named Cosmic Yak. Welcome, welcome. We had a couple more people just join the stream. Glad to see you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. We're going to be going for probably another, we got about another hour and a half to 2 hours on the stream still. We usually run until about 3.5, 4 hours. So I just picked that up and didn't take a sip. That was stupid. We got about another hour and a half to 2 hours left on the stream. So stick around. Watch as the dwarves start to build themselves up a bit. All right, so now that we have this building here, we can start really. I'm gonna save it. I have one of those feelings again. Now that we have this building here, we can really start working on our setting up of production in terms of weapons and armor, and we can start outfitting our dwarves the way we want to. Because right now, everyone's kind of wearing like a hodgepodge of like random stuff, you know. So now we can start outfitting them much more uniformly, much nicer. So weaponsmith 3, iron plates. Yeah, okay. We're gonna get our smithies set up. I'm gonna set these up in the middle because we're gonna have to have plate beating stations pretty much all throughout this place as well. We have the weaponsmith, and then the imperial armor smithy. Get this set up here as well. Fantastic. Actually, I'm going to rotate this out and have the furnace in the back and the counters right there lined. Get these lined up better. There we go. Okay. And now we need plate beating stations as well. We're going to need a lot of these. And this is why we're going to need more dwarves specifically, because I'm going to need at least 3 or 4 dwarves. This is all they do. They make plates for armor. I mean, we need to fully just commit to it and have a whole retinue of people where this is their job. Because we're going to go through a lot of these. I mean, plate beating, it takes forever to make the individual plates for armor. Like the build time for them is kind of slow compared to what I would ideally like. And then in addition to that, we're going to go through them super duper quick. I mean, when you're making armor, you burn through them ridiculously fast considering how long it takes to make the damn. So we're going to need several dwarves where this is all they do. Set that up right there. We're going to use an iron. No, we're going to keep that out. So we're going to make that outside here in a minute. Iron furnace. You know, we'll set it up outside. This is a good item that we can use to break down materials, break down weapons, armor, stuff like that we don't need. That we can loot off. You know, if we loot off bodies or anything like that, we can take it off of them, loot it, turn it back into raw components, and then use those components to fund our further building. So be good there. Heavy armor smithy. I think the Imperial armor and the heavy armor will both do the same thing. We'll find out. Worst case, I have to destroy and rebuild one, but I'm really not concerned about it. Okay. Bench for making ancient science books. That would be useful, but I don't think we're going to need it. We tend to have a pretty good luck with getting ancient science books. Okay, we're going to get these built, and then we're going to go from there. I'm also going to need a storage container for weapons and armor for after they're done being produced. So while we're waiting for these to be built, we're going to send some guys out to do some recruiting because we are going to need quite a few more dwarves for sure. For sure. Storage. All right, we'll just drop some boxes here. We drop some boxes here. We'll do the armor storage right here. 3 boxes should be enough. I don't want to overstore or overproduce. And then we'll also do some wooden barrel. We need weapons cabinets. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to alternate them out a little bit just so it looks maybe a little bit put together. A little bit more uniform, a little more correct, like it all flows together. I'll do all the armor containers in the center. And I'll do another weapons cabinet here at the end. I'm going to have to end up shifting them with the Shift F12 menu, putting them into place the way that I want. But that should be enough to start with. I'm not too concerned about, oh, we need to light the place up too, because otherwise they are not going to work efficiently, because if you don't have the place lit up, efficiency goes down significantly. So you got to make sure you're lighting your place up. So I use torches because I don't want to waste power on power that could be being used for, other things. Our research benches, our smiths themselves, because they do require power. So I tend to use torches for every source of lighting. All right, so we'll get those built. That's going to go well. Stoked about that. And then we also have a source of copper now. We can go grab that. I'm not going to worry about it too much right now. We need to go recruit dwarves. Now, in order to do this, we can do this a couple different ways. I can either go on a slave run, where I go and buy a couple of slaves, sell a few things off. I can buy people for like 1,000 and then bring them back here. Or I can use the recruitable prisoners mod that I have. It's recruitable prisoners with dialogue, so it does take some time. It's not something I can spam, something I can cheese out really fast for like rapid growth, but it does increase things a bit. The downside is that requires me to go back to the way station again, beat a couple of them down, kidnap them, and bring them back. And depending on who we end up taking, it may be harder compared to others, or we may not have the resources needed to take them, because some of them we have to bribe, Some of them we have to do specific dialogue trees. Some of them will just join us. I mean, there's a lot of potential variables to consider with that. So there's a few different avenues we can take here. We just need to decide which one we're going to do. Are these all maxed out? They should be. Yeah, okay. Just making sure my farms are maxed out. I meant to max them, but, you know, you never know. And we have constant source of water. I don't think we've never even put anything in this water thing. These things are always just 10. I just have the water container here for the sake of saying I have it at this point, I feel like. So we have we need to get a couple more dwarves. I probably, based on what I'm seeing here, I need at least 10 more dwarves. Between smithing, you know, plate beating, smithing, all of that stuff, and then additional means of production. I need at least 10 more dwarves here. So we've definitely got our work cut out for us. It took us 10 episodes to get this many dwarves. I don't think it's going to take us that long to get the rest, but we need more. That's for sure. What research do we still have going? Because I'd like to get at least some of the smithing based research done before we do it. Yeah, so the rest of this stuff can wait. So I'm going to put together an expeditionary force to go out and start recruiting people. Obviously, we need to take our golems with us because they are our primary means of transportation. We'll take stream. We'll take grimdark. I'm going to take all of our noble dwarves and our high-ranking warriors. Everybody, I don't think anybody here is doing anything particularly important beyond maybe production of iron plates, but we should be good on that end as long as we're still producing food while we're gone. That's the big thing. As long as while we are gone, food is still being produced, we should be fine. So I'm gonna look at truth stats. What she's doing. She's stone processing. I'm not taking Cat because he's missing an arm. Yeah. Okay. So this is our group. We're going out with this group here. I'm also going to take a couple of these prosthetics with us because we're gonna sell them off. They've been sitting in this crate for too long. We're not using them, so I'm going to sell them off. At least the ones that will sell for something decent. Now we have a couple. Right, I'll leave one of each each side. So like we have 2 skeleton arms, we'll get rid of them. I think we have 2 left legs or 2 right legs. We have 2 right legs. I'll get rid of one of them. We have the longsword we're not going to use. Katana we're not going to use. Tensen not going to use. Garu backpack. I don't even know what's actually in this. There may be things in this, but I doubt we're going to use that as well. I'm going to have one of the actual faction members pick that up because, again, I don't know if there's anything. There could very well be something in this backpack. I have no idea. Cotton, I don't think we're going to keep the cotton because eventually we're going to have to start producing cloth, I'm pretty sure. We might need cloth for producing armor. So I'm going to hang on to that because it might be something we have to produce later. It's been a while since I've done like a full production line in Kenshi. So I may be just a little dumb on that, but it's fine. Let me throw these science books in here so they're not cluttering up space. And then we're going to head out. So now we got to decide where we're going to go. That is our next angle move. Why are we moving so slow? Who's moving slow? Nines. Everybody should be moving at a decent speed. They all have good athletics, so why are we moving slow? What is that? Is it just encumbrance? Is that why? Because we're moving a hell of a lot slower than we should be. 13, 21. They're all moving at about 21 miles an hour. Why are we moving so slow? All right, here's what we're going to do to figure that out. I'm going to open the gate, have them cross the bridge, make all of them run at top speed, and see which one's moving the slowest, because depending on who it is, that might mean that I have to leave somebody behind. All right, who's the weakest link here? It's Stream. Why is Stream moving so fucking slow? He's in... Oh, so there is something in this backpack, isn't there? There's got to be. That's the only thing that makes sense. We're moving so slow because there's something in this backpack. I don't have a guard to figure out what it is. I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna drop it. No point in me hanging on to it. I don't know what's in that backpack, but I have no means to even check, and it's really not that important. It's obviously, of course, he's the one that's making us move slow. That's the only thing that makes sense. All right, keep it moving. Keep it moving. Why are we not using the perfectly functional bridge that's right in here? The nav mesh on this bridge is terrible. That's the other reason that I'm not worried about our base ever getting attacked, because half the time the nav mesh on the bridge doesn't work, so they're going to try and cross the bridge, and then they're going to swim instead of actually getting up on the friggin' bridge. And then we'll just have the harpoons just pick them off. They'll just get pooned to death. Death by pooning. I like that my dudes actually will like recount the battle of the conquering of the Fishman Isles. Easily our greatest triumph thus far. Oh. This should be a good expanse. We have enough healing kits, right? Yeah, everybody should be all set. Should be all set. Okay. So we're off to do some recruiting, whether they really like it or not. We're gonna head up to these slave markets here. Which one's closer, those slave markets or the Manhunter base? Who owns the slave markets? That's the other question. Slave traders. What are my relations with them right now? I think I fought some of them the other day. Oh no, actually I have decent relations with the slave traders. Oddly enough. I don't know if I should be happy about that or not, but apparently I have decent relationships with the slave traders. So take that as you will, I guess. The dwarves are Grazumi Keep they have some pretty shifty friends apparently. That is a lot of skin spiders. That is a lot of beak things too. Damn devil giraffes. We're gonna try and sidewind this, get around them. While the bone wolves are fighting the skin spiders. Wow, that was quick too. They didn't put up any fight, my lord. What is one thing... All right, I'll just read it. Great to see you, brother. Thanks for all the awesome content over the years. If you can comment on this, what do you think is one thing that makes Kenshi such a classic? Lore, gameplay, etc. I think the reason that Kenshi is such a classic is because it is a true open world sandbox. It doesn't like have a linear story. It really is, you know, within the confines of the technology that was available to you. One of the reasons why Kenshi is such a standout game is that A, it is brutal, right? And everybody loves brutality in their games to a degree. Look at why, like why the Souls franchises, like Souls-like games are so popular. They're brutally difficult until you figure it out, and then they get easier, but there's always a degree of difficulty, right? So people like a challenge. That's step one. So step one, everyone likes a challenge. And then on top of that, this is the first game to give you the line of do what you want, create your own story, be who you want, and actually do it. How many games will tell you, you know, this is your story. Be the hero you want to be the villain, be the hero, be the, you know, whatever. And then you're kind of shafted into like maybe 6 or 7 different roles, but there really is actually fine lines between what you can do. Like restrictions holding you on what you can do. Whereas Kenshi, it says be who you want to be, and it literally means it. You can do an entire playthrough where you're a weak, unskillful merchant just traveling, right? Walking the trails with the nomads and selling and buying goods, and you can make money that way. You can do a whole playthrough where you're literally a slave, right? You can escape slavery. You can, you know, be a warlord, be a mercenary, be an assassin, do a genocide playthrough. You can side with one faction. You can side with any faction if you try hard enough. Like, it really does. It's the first game that I know of that tells you you can do anything and actually means it. And I think that's one of the big things. The other thing is just there because of the way that the game is set up, both mechanically and in terms like just gameplay wise, it creates so many memorable moments. And it's really easy to have those memorable moments. You know, I look at back at just this playthrough here, the Battle of the Fishman Isles, from I think it was like the fourth or fifth episode in this series, was absolutely insane. People were going down left and right. We were running rescue operations. It was 360-degree combat for almost 2 full episodes. So that's almost 6 hours of streams for 365-degree combat. And it was us trying to simultaneously put together a base of operations for our dwarves to really start our playthrough, to like truly start our playthrough, while simultaneously fighting this horde of monstrosities. Like, and it created this really organic, awesome moment. And it, I don't know, Kenshi is just one of those games where it has so many great, unique elements to it that so many other games claim to have and just don't. So, like, what makes Kenshi such a classic? It's that it's a real open world sandbox. And as far as I'm concerned, it's the only one I've ever seen. I've seen games that claim to be open world sandbox, and some of them are closer than others. And even Kenshi, to a degree, maybe has limitations on what it can do as a result of the engine or just like creative choices, because there's always limits. The only time you're not going to get limits in a game is when you're playing like D&D, because it's theater of the mind. But like within the confines of the limitations of the game itself, or the engine itself, and the creative choices made by Chris Hunt and the people over at Lo-Fi, Kenshi is a true open world sandbox where there is not a linear story. There is nothing pulling you in any direction. You can just do what you want to do. Do you want to engage with people? Great. Do you not want to engage with people? Doesn't change anything. The story is your own. There is no story, so you get to write your own. Some games, some RPGs really, even the ones that are open world, open concept, open, do what you want to do, like think Skyrim, think Bethesda games, because even though Bethesda these days kind of sucks ass, they're still kind of like one of the powerhouses in the old days of RPGs, and like what it meant to be an open world RPG. Look at Skyrim, look at Fallout 4. Is it open world? Yes. Can you go around and create your character and become who you want and do certain side quests and follow certain things to make a build and a story that you want? Yes, but you're still trapped within the confines of the story of the game. In Skyrim, there are dragons loose, right? And even if you choose to ignore it, there's going to be mentions. Things are constantly going to be pulling you in the direction of those dragons. There will be constantly be mentions of Alduin, of the end times, of all that stuff. And you reach a certain point where like it's kind of, you're kind of forced or pushed into pursuing that story. Fallout 4 took it to another level where like there's this weird sense of urgency where it's like, hey, I left the vault, but I don't really feel like I can go out and explore and do things in an organic, immersive way because my son's missing, and I feel like that should take priority. Finding Sean. Kenshi has none of those issues because it doesn't have a narrative. It doesn't have a story. You live in the present, and there is nothing pulling you in any direction. So you get to make the story whatever you want. Kenshi can be a job simulator. It can be a power fantasy. It can be the opposite of a power fantasy, if that's what you're into. It can be any one of those things, and that's something that so many games lack. So that's why I think Kenshi is a classic, because it is a true open world game that doesn't try to force you to do anything. It lets you let it be what it is. It's a playground. I mean, it's literally just a playground that lets you be whatever you want it to be. So that's my long-winded answer to your question. Hello, everybody that has joined us. I see that we have a sizable 29 people in the stream right now. I'm happy to see everybody. If you have any questions, whether it be about lore, Kenshi as a whole, you just want to chat, do let me know. I'm always happy to discuss these things on stream. It's one of my favorite things to do, actually, is when people start, asking me questions about lore and stuff like that on stream. It's oh shit, I didn't mean to sell that. Give it back, it's mine. One of my favorite things to do is talk about lore on stream. So some people enjoy hearing it. Obviously, because you're here. Lore is what I do 90% of the time, but just throwing it out there. If you guys have anything you want to talk about, please feel free to ask. I'm always more than happy to answer lore questions if you have them, or any questions about Kenshi in general, or anything in general. I'm here for your amusement. 41,000. That should be enough for us to get a couple of slaves, just a couple. And I can buy 7 because I can have all 7 of the dwarves here. Just pick them up and carry them. And then we can run back to the base. Hopefully and then eventually I'm going to have to shorten them down because by default they give me them however they look by default. But yeah, we'll have to bring them somewhere to cut their knees off and make them look like fucking dwarves. But this is a start. We'll be here. Everybody get out. There's too many people in here. What is the setting of Kenshi 2 going to be? The setting of Kenshi 2 is going to be set roughly 1,000 years prior to Kenshi 1. Why? Hold on, I need to move the orientation. King Vishu needs to be in the front of the squad at all times. Kenshi 2 is going to be set roughly 1,000 years before the events of Kenshi 1, after the fall of the Second Empire, I mean. A lot of people think that, like, oh, the Second Empire is going to be active during Kenshi 2. That's almost not very, very unlikely. They think that because the Armor King makes a mention where he says that 926 years ago, the booming Second Empire town of Catch was above in the mountains where his shop fell into the ravine. The reason why I say that it's probably not going to be the case is because that would kind of detract from what Kenshi is if there was like a unified empire. What we are going to see is either the very tail end of the empire or right after its collapse. And I think it's more likely we're going to see it right after its collapse. We'll still see remnants of the empire, maybe trying to hang on to whatever, authority they have. But chances are we're going to see the empire having already collapsed. Grab these guys. We're going to see the empire already having been collapsed. But 1,000 years back, the empire is still in relative chaos. Like the lands of Kenshi will have been in relative chaos because obviously they just, had an entire empire fall apart on them. Who are you? Oh, these are the other 2 that I bought, but they are not. That's weird. In terms of like factions and stuff like that, we're going to see a very early Holy Nation. We don't know how long passed, like how much time passed since the Holy Nation was formed versus when the Empire collapsed. We know that it was anywhere between 1 and 5,000 years, which I know is a very long, like, estimation of time. But we also don't know how long. Well, that is not what I want to pick up. We don't know how long the Second Empire went for. Based on Holy Scriptures, there's reason to believe that the Holy Nation may have been 5,000 years old. I personally don't think they're that old, just based on my own in-game evidence and also like real-world evidence. But there's that. But in terms of the setting for Kenshi 2, it's going to be the post-collapse of the Second Empire. The water levels are going to be significantly higher. I brought this up before, and I've shown this map before on stream on other videos. I may, here, I'll just pull it up now. I think I have it. Let me pull this up. I can show you the map for it, provided I still have it. Good. Here it is. Okay. So I used the natural topography of Kenshi's landscape to recreate what the map probably on Kenshi 2 is going to look like roughly. Granted, there is going to be another landmass present, because they did say that there was going to be more land. So we may be getting, another continent outside of maybe this one, or we're not sure about that. But based on the natural topography, the signs of water erosion, and the things that we know about Kenshi 2, like how 1,000 years back during the Second Empire, pirates were a big problem because the water levels were higher. So I used the natural topography, signs of water erosion, things like that to recreate the map with higher water levels, right? And so this is a really rough estimate of what the map on Kenshi 2 will look like. And again, there's going to be other land masses that we're unaware of. But something of note here is, like, this is the grid. This was an agricultural center, so this is going to be probably a really like rough area, even compared to how it is now. This was blown up by some kind of nuclear explosion in the grid during the Second Empire that wiped out their food supply. Because this whole area used to be set up like Aztec floating farms. That's why it's in a grid pattern with the water in between all that stuff. So this area is going to be super dangerous. Most of the swamp was flooded. The floodlands are, as the name suggests, flooded. A lot of this land is just gone. But so imagine this, but like fractured with like the Second Empire, having freshly been dissolved, and all that. So kind of a rambly answer, but like there's only so much we know about. That after Catlon and before the first Phoenix, something about we would have called become the Holy Nation. What would be the most shocking lore mindfuck that you think we could see in Kenshi 2? Oh God, I think. Yeah, it hasn't been confirmed, but there's almost definitely going to be boats. Pirates were a big thing in the lore during Kenshi 2, during the time of the Second Empire. Catlon's empire, one of the biggest like things that were happening during the Second Empire was that people were being falsely accused of being pirates for the sake of like quote keeping order, and as they were being accused of being pirates, the like police under, I think it was Hat 12, were arresting citizens. They were persecuting their own citizens, becoming increasingly more oppressive as Catlon became more and more like obsessed with the idea that like people were going to turn on him. So yeah, boats are almost positive. Plus, in all of the concept art for Kenshi 2, outside of like the like armor concept art and the concept art of like walls, but like all of the area art and stuff like that shows people on like boats. So boats are almost certain to be a thing in Kenshi 2. There's very little reason to think that they're not going to be. Now, in terms of the most shocking lore reveal, that's a tough one. What would be the most shocking lore reveal? I think for me, let me clarify too. I don't think this is the case. This is just something that's been floated around a lot. There's the commonly held belief that Okrin was Stobe. I believe that one. I have great reason to believe that one is true. Okrin is a alteration of Stobe by the Holy Nation to remove the skeleton aspects of them so that way they could, justify their hatred of skeletons even further, because it's really hard to have a religion that villainizes skeletons as being massive oppressors when you are actively worshiping a skeleton. So they removed the skeleton aspects from Stobe, and that's how they made Kytrin or Okrin. Kytrin was, skeletons as a whole, and then it was divvied out into two groups, Okrin being Stobe, the savior of humanity, and then the rest of the skeletons being Narco. Now, aside from that, there is a also less commonly held belief that Crawl is also Stobe. I don't think that's true. But that would be pretty cool if Crawl was also Stobe, because there's that whole story about him facing off against like 100 or 1,000 warriors in the Warrior Way. And so like I would like to get more clarification on Crawl, because again, there's that implication that he might be Stobe that people tend to believe, and I am eager to see if maybe that's the case. Another cool one would be, confirmation on my original theory that has become pretty widespread. A lot of people tend to believe it, that the Hivers are human, that were genetically experimented on by Catlon towards the end of his empire, more aggressively than the genetic experimentation that was done to create the Shek. It was very untempered, unethical experimentation comparatively, and I am of the belief that is the case for the Hivers as well. And I could get into that in more detail if anybody wants. I've gone over it in several of my videos, but I'd be more than happy to explain that a little bit further. Welcome to everybody to join us. See, we just broke 30. Happy to see that. Yeah. So I think confirmation of the hivers being human is one, and then the other one would be the Krull thing. Explain more about the skeleton sadness. Oh, absolutely. This one is pretty easy to explain. So effectively, skeletons run on binary. You know, we don't have concrete proof of that, but I think it's easy to make that assumption considering that everything in the universe effectively runs on binary code. It's the system of ones and zeros. It's, you know, there are other forms of code, but everything can pretty much be dialed down to binary, right? So if we assume the skeletons run on binary, and we assume that they function at least in some way like current technology does, just a different offshoot of current technology, we know that they have data that has to be stored and processed because, again, they're not like humans. The problem is that they're AI, and they're AI with emotions, and emotions build up. And for people, the way that people work, when we have emotional buildups, we have ways to regulate those emotions. We have ways of outputting those emotions. If you get sad, you cry. If you get happy, you smile. If you get angry, you turn red. Temperature heats up. You get flares. There's ways to output those emotions. Skeletons don't have any of those. They don't have any of that stuff. They have a finite amount of memory in their systems, their operating systems. And unlike humans, where if we don't need something, if we don't need to remember something, we just forget it. Skeletons don't have that option because their data is stored as ones and zeros hard-coded into their memory. And so what they do is we don't know the timeline of it, but every so often skeletons have to do with something called a reset. Now, the lie that skeletons tell is that resetting resets their memories. It does not reset their memories. There's no evidence to suggest that it resets their memories. However, they are very honest about, like the skeletons in your party are honest that if they reset, it removes their skills. So now we have a couple of things that we're looking at. They have a buildup of memory. They have no way to off-put those emotions. They have no way to off-put those feelings, right? They also have no physical sensation. So they're essentially consciousness floating in a metal body that has no feeling, only emotional feelings. And if their system gets too out of whack, too out of control, they're forced to reset to prevent those emotions from bloating, right? Much like a save game, right? If you save too much in any game, in a lot of games, you'll cause bloated saves, and eventually you'll start to run into errors. So the way that you can prevent those errors is by deleting that data, because by deleting the data, there's nothing to cause corruption and the errors go away. But if they delete the data, they lose their stats, right? The things that make them unique, that make them who they are. They still have memories, but it makes them who they are. And so skeletons will choose to not reset their stats, to not reset and risk getting bloat, CPU bloat, overload from those buildup of emotions. The problem is that as they do that, their system starts to become corrupted and starts to degrade and break down. So that's why you see skeletons that you'll notice every skeleton that has obscenely high stats, Catlon, Eldar, Tin Fist, the Armor King, all of these skeletons that have really, really good stats are insane. Not only are they insane, they exhibit the exact same type of insanity. Obsession and it's obsession and like compulsion. Really bad obsession and compulsion and glitchiness, right? They stop making sense in conversation and they become really fixated on one particular thing. Tin Fist is obsessed with fighting slavers to the point where he's willing to kill or indirectly kill innocent people to save slaves, to free the slaves, not save them, free them. Catlon is obsessed with the idea that humans were the monster. His paranoia, right? That's why his empire is slowly drawn out. The Armor King is obsessed with creating armor, selling armor, and catching thieves. All of these skeletons have really high stats, which means they haven't reset, because when they reset their stats. You know, your party members will tell you as much. If they reset, they'll lose their stats. So the skeleton sadness and the reason why skeletons are depressed is because they are consistently stuck in a state of perpetual entropy where they have to choose between resetting their stats, which to us is arbitrary numbers, but to them, it's the equivalent of spending 100 years perfecting your craft as a baker or a soldier, or we'll go with warrior in this case. Imagine spending 100 years perfecting your craft as a warrior, becoming a master swordsman, a master tactician. And that's who you are. That's your identity. You are Catlon, the master tactician, the leader, the warrior. And then you're forced to reset and you lose, even though you have the memory of being that, you lose all of those stats and the things that make you unique, that make you who you are. So, but if you don't do it, you go insane. You'll slowly degrade and rot away as your system becomes overloaded with memory and overloaded with bloat until eventually you rot and turn into nothing, or you go so insane that you're past the point of saving. And that's why the Second Empire was doomed to fail from the beginning, because Catlon reached a point where he was no longer able to reset, because if he did, he would not be effective as a leader. And so he made the conscious decision to not reset himself and to maintain his stats and to maintain everything he had built. And eventually he went insane for it. He started to become paranoid. He started to, turn on his own people because, again, skeletons are stuck in this perpetual state of either entropy or entropy of in the physical sense, or entropy in the emotional sense. It's a really sad situation. It really sucks for him. And that's why they're like, skeletons are always crying, because they are repeatedly forced to give up the only thing that makes them functionally unique. They are sad because of what they did to humans. That's another thing. They are in fact sad because of what they did to humans, but that's not all of it. They are by nature very grief-ridden over the fact that they almost caused the extinction of humanity. That much is also very true. But in addition to that, they're depressed because, they're forced to consistently choose between maintaining their individuality. Because if you take two skeletons and put them next to each other, physically, they're almost identical. The only difference is their personality. But if you give them a reset, their personality and the stats and the things that make them unique and their experience goes away, so they're no longer unique. And that wouldn't be a problem if they were, like a machine. It's like resetting a machine, but they're not just a machine. They have consciousness, and that consciousness is floating in a metal body that's incapable of off-putting emotion, stores it as repeated data that is data that eventually bloats up and causes corruption, and all that. So, but they're also incredibly sad over the situation at Obedience. But that sadness is different. That's a different situation, because not only are they sad about it, but they're also afraid. Because they look at the world of Kenshi, look at everything that's going on around them. The state of, I say the world, look at the moon of Kenshi, look at the state of Kenshi. It's stuck in a perpetual cycle of I keep saying entropy, but entropy. We had a massive empire that was a spacefaring civilization that existed beyond the confine, like beyond the bounds of the stars. We have what is likely a planet colonization, whether it be for mining purposes or whatever it is. We have a system where this planet was once ruled by an incredibly advanced civilization capable of creating megastructures, and the skeletons destroyed all of it, only to realize they were the bad guys. Many of them committed Sudoku after the fact. And then the ones that are left tried their best to rebuild and like atone for what they had done to the humans, only to do it again in the form of the oppression and the experimentation and all that stuff that Catlon did. I mean, they've effectively created and caused the downfall of two major civilizations on Kenshi and left the world in a permanent state of fracture. Yeah, I said Sudoku because I can't say the other word on stream. YouTube doesn't like the other word on stream. But like they've effectively destroyed Kenshi. They've destroyed the two only civilizations that have ever been able to thrive on Kenshi thus far. And they've left the state in the world in what is effectively a permanent state of fracture that has also devolved, like, incredibly. You know, they used to have satellites and space lasers and nuclear weapons and AI, and now they have concrete buildings and katanas. Like, it's in crossbows. Like, it's clearly not good. And the skeletons are, quite frankly, even though I do feel bad for them in terms of like their personality and that permanent state of entropy that I've spent the last 10 minutes going on about, Kenshi's current state is entirely their fault. It's entirely their fault. They destroyed Kenshi not once, but twice. And they feel remorse because they fucked it all up. I mean, you know, that's really what it comes down to. They feel terrible and they're sad and miserable because they fucked everything up. It's entirely their fault. And the state of Kenshi, as it is in this disturbing dystopian wasteland, is entirely their fault, and they know it. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things. You know, they feel like shit. I need to make a new squad with dwarves to be turned dwarves, because I don't have a way to cut these guys at the knees yet, but I also don't want to lose track that these guys have to be turned into dwarves still. They're currently too tall, too chungy, I think. Some of them might actually be close to the right size. Actually, some of them might be the right size, but Pins, well, Pins is not one of the ones to be. Yeah, so these guys need to be turned into dwarves still. So I'm going to put them in a separate grouping here, so that they don't get confused for dwarves. They're indentured servants. They're here doing their thing. What they are going to do is, I don't want them doing anything other than beating plates. That's their job. They're plate beaters. That's what they do. What is our storage situation? So yeah, skeletons are stuck in a permanent state of entropy and suspended consciousness in a body that cannot feel, but cannot feel physically, but only feel emotionally. Yeah. I mean, we don't know what's true. We don't know what's not true. Shit, my entire channel is literally based around speculation at this, for the most part. There's a couple things that are true. Like, I have a couple videos that are just literally like the whole, story of everything we know. I posted one a while ago. It's like the complete known history of Kenshi. All that stuff is canon, but most of my other videos are all pure speculation. Contrary to what some people in like the Kenshi discords would have you believe, I'm not like creating misinformation on purpose or anything. I'm just theorizing, but some people get pissy about it. Not the point. The point is that it's all speculative. That's what Kenshi is. It's speculation. It's all speculation, and that part of that is really cool because it means that they can retcon later on without really maybe destroying too much of the established lore. But some of it also, it's such an interesting world because it allows you to kind of create your own narrative that maybe is true or isn't true, but we have no reason to know one way or the other right now. Like, everything I've ever speculated or postulated on could be absolutely 100% true. 30% of it could be true. 50% could be true. And I'll take any bit of it. If every one of my theories was wrong, firstly, it's cool because I'd have more videos to make, which would be awesome, correcting my lore. But if every one of my theories turned out to be 100% true, that's cool. If one of my theories turned out to be true, I would count that as a win. The other thing is that Chris and Nat have both come out and said that there will be retcons in the lore for Kenshi 2. There will be retcons for the lore. And that's cool for a couple reasons. One, because again, Kenshi's lore is so speculative, like I doubt we're really going to notice too much. But also, I know that Chris and hello, a traitor at my gates. That's fun. I know that Chris and Laura, I know that Chris, Nat, and Dan watch my videos. They've commented on my videos before. We've emailed back and forth. Like I know that they watch my stuff. And so it would be really cool if they retcon some of the lore to fit my theories. That would be really cool. But you know, to each their own. Do I want any animals? Do I want like pack bulls or anything? Do I want anything? Someone let me know in chat. Should I add pack bulls? I don't think goats are a good idea. We're gonna end up using battle garus. I know that. We're gonna end up doing battle garus, but should I do pack bulls too? We can afford a couple of them. The question is feeding them. Well, we could probably feed them without much of an issue. They eat grain. We have plenty of that. Well, we can use the pack bulls or the. Do the bulls have backpacks? Let me check and see if they come with backpacks on these. Yeah. So they come with backpacks. So I think I'm gonna get a couple of pack bulls. Yeah. We're gonna get a couple of them. 4, 5. We're gonna need them anyway when we start to do long campaigns, like against other factions. We're gonna need them for the sake of transporting food, because when one of the big issues with Kenshi, not issues, but like it's realistic. It's an immersion thing. When you're moving an army of 30, 40, 50 characters, you're going to go through so much food just getting to the location of the fight. Like when you're going from like your base at, you know, the Borderlands, by the time you get to the Holy Nation, you'll have gone through so much food, it's not even funny. So we're going to need a number of pack bulls just for carrying resources, I think. And also pack bulls are good in combat once they hit adult and elder stage. So how many do we have selected? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 pack bulls? I think we'll go with 5. I think 5. 5 is a good number. And we'll try to get the ones that are older. Is there anyone that are older than these? We want ones that are older so that way they'll have better stats. A Garuda. A Garu. He meant Garu. Garuda is an entirely different thing, I think. Entirely different thing. Scrolling back, why isn't there cyborgs for all the technological advancement, or the Shek? Or is the Shek is that? Okay. The technological timeline of Kenshi is a bit complex. And by complex, it's one of those things where you have to think about it in the same way that you look at things like Fallout. In the timeline for Kenshi, think of it like a technological break. Yeah, I'm gonna leave them named pack bulls. I'm not gonna use them for anything beyond like moving stuff. So, think about Kenshi in terms of Fallout, right? So in Fallout, during World War II, the timeline was the same. It was the exact same, sort of, with the exclusion of like certain like aliens and stuff like that. But like for the most part, the timeline in Fallout was the exact same up until you hit World War II. We dropped the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And in our real life equivalent, we said, no, we're not going to use that technology at the moment. It's too dangerous. We're not going to do anything with it. And we left it at that. And we ended up moving into the digital age instead. We moved into the way of computer chips, microchips and all that stuff, and the digital age. In Fallout, they moved into the nuclear age instead. They started using nuclear power to power everything. And that's why they have technology that is similar to ours, but is less advanced in some places and more advanced in others. Because the technology branched out into a different direction, and it led to some of the same results, but not the same results in everything. And Kenshi functions very similarly. That's why you have evidence of things like space lasers. You have evidence of things like space elevators, colonization, AI, stuff like that, but you don't have nearly as many weapon advancements that we can find, right? Like the space laser, the eye satellites, those were almost definitely used for terraforming based on everything we can see. The reason why Venge is so fucked up is because they've had those space lasers going for thousands of years. It looked like the First Empire's technology was largely based around production, largely based around like less militarized uses. They didn't have much military technology. Their military technology was the behemoths and the skeletons, and they rebelled. So they don't have technology that was used for military purposes because they were the military purpose. The skeletons were. The reason why Kenshi has some things that are more advanced and then some things that are significantly less advanced is because there was a break in the technological advancement in the history of the First Empire, or somewhere in there where technology branched off in a less militarized area and was focusing more on production and stuff like that. So they had things like genetic manipulation. They had things like terraforming devices and space elevators, and they had things like AI and mass means of production and superstructures. But they didn't have, as far as we know, there's no evidence of things like gunpowder. There's no evidence of things like laser guns and ray guns and shit like that. There's some evidence of like nuclear missile technology and stuff, but like that's the closest we get to like militarized stuff. So that's largely why. And the other thing too is you have to remember the Second Empire doesn't create anything. They don't create. They never created anything. Everything the Second Empire has, everything they ever did, was recycled or renewed from the first. That's why skeletons stopped being produced after the fall of the First Empire. There's not. The closest thing we have to speculation on the native races is like Leviathans, and some people think maybe the Hivers. But that's really it. I did cover some of that. I'll get into that in just a minute. I'm going to finish my first point before I dip off on another. What the pack? I need to put an animal feeder down for these boys now. Where was I at? Oh yeah, so the Second Empire didn't create anything. All of their technology, all of their advancements, everything they were doing was recycled and repurposed from the First Empire. Most of their look at the Ashlands. The Ashlands was likely the capital of the Second Empire, and it was built using the remains of the superstructures from the First. I don't think fishmen. I think the fishmen might be evidence of like a native species, but I think the fishmen are a more likely evidence, at least to me, evidence of that genetic tampering I was talking about. But they could very well be natives. I mean, they don't seem like they've been around in history. I don't see any lore, any books or anything that indicates them having become like on the surface prior to like recently. So they very well could be like the native species. Kenshi used to have more water, although that is a whole different discussion because the First Empire's map actually looked similar to this, and then the Second Empire's had more water, and then the First Empire's look like now Kenshi looks like this again, but that's a whole different situation. But I can pull the map up to kind of prove that. But none of this, back to what I was saying before, none of the Second Empire's technology is new. They recycled everything. Most of their larger buildings, like the ancient outposts and stuff like that, the large megastructures, those were all First Empire buildings. Most of that stuff was all First Empire buildings. Most of the technology, all of the technology they have was all recycled and salvaged from the First. The skeletons, interestingly, there's no evidence that they know how to create. They can't create, they can repurpose. They can reuse. Right? Like they can take things that exist and they can like use that if it's functioning, they can like replicate it, but they can't create technology that they don't actively already have. That's why there was no skeletons that were made after the First Empire. That and during the time of the Second Empire, the floodlands were totally underwater, so production was kind of halted. That's why, like, they don't have, like, you don't find, like, brand new AI cores. That's, like, the entirety of the Second Empire was built using the remains of the first. They didn't make anything new. So that's another part of the technological aspect of things. They were just reusing technology from the First Empire. And so the First Empire probably had the means of genetic manipulation, and the Second Empire was able to, replicate that. Especially if you follow my theory that, the Bugmaster was a geneticist during the whole thing as well. So that there's a possibility that maybe, like, one of the the Second Empire humans, being the Bugmaster, created that technology, but the skeletons themselves cannot create anything new. They're literally incapable of creating new technology, which is another reason why they were doomed to fail. As for what races are native to the moon, I say the Fishmen have a good possibility. I don't personally know if I believe one way or the other on the Fishmen. I think they may be evidence of genetic manipulation, but they also could very well be native. There's a case for both of those. I think the only thing that we know for certain is native to Kenshi. The only thing we know for certain is the Leviathans. That's it. I think, and I've gone over this in another video as well. I think it was my All Life Came From Humans video. I talked about it, how there is reason to believe that all of the life on Kenshi, other than, like, maybe the Leviathans, has an origin in humanity in some way. Whether they were brought here, whether they were created artificially, whether their data, their DNA is based in humans. I think all of it started with humanity due to terraforming. There's reason to believe beak things might be a grotesque, defunct human. There's reason to believe that bone dogs started out as normal dogs that maybe we brought to Kenshi. Humans brought to the moon of Kenshi during, the early days, and then they were experimented. I mean, there's a lot there, but I think the only ones we know for certain are native are probably the Leviathans, and that is because the lore states there was an unknown enemy that was fighting the behemoths. The behemoths were incredibly large. We find giant bones and stuff in the boneyard. Shit, I passed one earlier by Catan that suggests there was this giant enemy, like these gargantuan kaiju-sized enemies. The behemoths were made to fight those. The Leviathans were probably some evolutionary offshoot of that. Who knows? But I think for certain, the only thing we can know for sure, that patrolling. What are you patrolling? The only thing we can know for sure that is native is probably the Leviathan. Everything else is speculatory. I think the only thing we can say for certain is Leviathans. Easy AJ, or how, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm so sorry. We have a brand new member to the Mad Lads Guild. Thank you so much for joining. Is well, I'm gonna like probably have a stroke trying to say your name. Either way, I will be naming a dwarf after you honorarily. Thank you for joining the Mad Lads Guild. Welcome to the party. I'm happy to have you here. I said it when Cosmic Yak joined as well. We're going to be getting a Discord up and running very, very soon for all of our Mad Lad members. When we have that up and running, we're going to be starting to do giveaways on the channel. When I do those, anybody in the Discord that is a Mad Lads member and in the Discord will automatically be entered for any giveaways that we do. So stay tuned. We have a lot more perks coming for you guys. I'm really trying to make sure that $2 a month gives you quite a bit of perks. I want to make sure you're getting your bang for your $2. I want to make sure it's worth it. I don't want to, just have you guys monetarily support me without getting anything in return. So we're going to be setting up a Discord. We're going to be doing giveaways on the channel. A lot of really good stuff. You guys are going to be able to chat with me more directly and all that stuff. So, yes, you did. Yes, somebody, you got a gifted membership. I'm pretty sure Cosmic Yak did. He gifted 5 people memberships, and then he also joined himself. So you'll have 1 month in the Mad Lads Guild. You can choose to renew if you want to stay with us, or just enjoy the free perks for a month of having that nice chat and badge. Nice badge and chat, I mean. But yes, welcome to the Mad Lads Guild. Thank you so much for your continued support. I really appreciate it. That goes a long way with helping us, do what we're doing here. 34 of us here, 13 likes on the stream. Yeah. I appreciate it. Our peak right now, what is it? 2 streams ago, we had just under 60 people in here. For my first stream in over a year. You know, I took quite a long time off streaming, so first stream in over a year. And we had 60 people in here. I'd really like to see that number become more consistent, but honestly, I'm satisfied with a consistency at 30, 33, 35, which is where we've been the last 2 streams. That is still double, more than triple actually what I was getting the last time I was, tried streaming. I feel much more comfortable with it now, but the numbers are going up. We're getting a good audience, a lot more engagement, so I do appreciate it. But yeah, no, slam the like button, help us out. But anything helps. I appreciate everything. I'm not going to harp on it too much. I try not to be too pushy or anything like that, but I appreciate the support, guys. I do thoroughly enjoy sitting here chatting with you guys, talking about Kenshi or gaming as a whole. And I'm going to be streaming a lot more, as I have been. I've been streaming basically every other day. I'm going to be streaming again tomorrow as well. I'm going to be streaming for Isaiah. Isaiah it is. Fair enough. I'm going to be streaming again tomorrow. We're not going to be doing Kenshi tomorrow, though. We're going to be streaming Soulframe, the new game by Digital Extremes, as the fantasy variant of Warframe. I'm going to be streaming that with our favorite moderator, Stream SG. He was in the chat earlier today. Dude, Cosmic Yak, you absolute mad lad. He has gifted 10 memberships today. 10 memberships. You're an absolute unit, dude. Thank you so much for the continued support. I'm really glad that you're enjoying things. Everybody enjoy those memberships, those marks in chat. I sincerely appreciate it. Yeah, my guy has donated 10 memberships today alone. That's absolutely crazy. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Like I don't know what else to say. My guy, absolutely. Okay, so now we have the armor smithy up. What can I make here? Legion. Ooh, I literally totally forgot that I had this. I was gonna go Dawn Guard. Okay, all right. Vote in the chat. I have 2 options here. I can either make the Imperial armor. So this is the Legion armor from Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, right? Halt, you violated the law. Or I can have my dwarves run around in the Dawn Guard armor from Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. Those are my 2 options. I totally forgot I had this. The Legion armor, fun fact, in the original Rise of the Dwarves playthrough that I did when I first started the channel that ended up getting corrupted that led to this whole thing, that was the armor I was going to go with. So, excuse me, should I run the Legion armor or should I run the Dawn Guard armor? That is the question for everybody right now. Which one do I run? Because I can start production of the Legion armor right away. It's going to take some time, but I can start production of the Legion armor right away. So I'm trying to decide, what do I do first? Well, not right away because I need cloth. Can I make? Ooh, I might need to start making cotton. Everybody vote in chat while I'm getting getting the cotton farm set up because I'm going to need to start doing that. Okay, it's leaning more towards Legion right now. We're leaning more towards Legion. I do think Dawn Guard will stretch better on the dwarves, like in terms of like literal, because they're short with like really chongy bodies, really wide. Here, I'll pull them up actually. Here, I'll pull those right up. See what we get. All right. Dawn Guard armor. Okay, so and Legion armor Oblivion. Up. Okay, so we have two options in front of us. Load. Oh, terrible picture. Okay, so this is a super low res picture. I do apologize. I didn't realize it was that low res. I didn't look at the resolution. Anyway, these are the options: the Legion armor right here, or the Dawn Guard armor right here. Which one are we leaning more toward? Legion? So far, it seems like Legion's the winner. I think the only thing that had the Dawnguard armor has in the Legion armor is that it will like fit their proportions better because of the way they're shaped. But the Legion armor just looks clean, and it has a commander's helm that I can put on King Vishu. It's a tough one. It's a toughie. It's a real tough one. Here's what we'll do. I'm gonna get I'm gonna save it firstly because again, just in case. I'm gonna get the means of fabric production put together. You know what I might do? I might get the Legion armor and put that on all of our soldiers, and then have our producers, like the people that are in the fields, the people that are working the smithy and all that stuff. I might put them in Dawnguard armor because it's a little bit less like battle ready. It looks more like just like casual. I'm thinking Dawnguard armor on non-combatant units, and then Legion armor on combatants. I think that's a good middle ground for it. While that is happening, I need to get cotton research. Am I able to do that? Where's my farming? I'm all thrown off now. Cotton farming. How many cottons do I need? Hydroponic cotton? I don't need that. So does that mean I have cotton? Yeah, I do. Okay, cool. Then cotton farms, farming. Cotton farm, small. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm going to replace these front 4 farms with cotton farms. We have plenty of we have plenty of wheat straw being produced. I mean, we're producing faster than we can eat, and that says something. And I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue. So I'm going to... We need to get this stuff picked up firstly. So hopefully... Iron refinery, bread ovens. Okay. What do we have working this nonsense? Alright, so we'll get that stuff picked up. And then from there, we'll drop down some farms for cotton. We'll start growing cotton. Once we get that growing, we can start producing fabric, and we can use that for armor production. So we've got a plan now. We've got a plan. Something to work on. We're going to need 10 cotton to start. I might need to run into town for that. I don't know if I'm going to have enough offhand initially. I know I have some on hand already, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Gotta make sure it's lined up because I'm a crazy person. Okay. There we go. Okay. So we'll get these cotton fields set up. I know that we have some, but I don't think it's very much. I don't think it's enough. It was in here. Yeah, we have 5, which is half of what I need. So we're going to have to go get cotton. So someone might be making a quick trip over to Catan. Yeah, all right, we're going to send Stream over to Catan. No, you know what? We're going to send Grimdark. What's his speed at right now? He's got fucking ridiculous athletics. 27. Yeah, we'll send Stream. I think he's faster. He's got a backpack too. All right, we'll send Stream over to Catan because we need cotton. And just like that, we're on a mission again. Nope. We have to use the bridge like a civilized fucking person. Come on, use the bridge. I feel like every other stream, they just don't want to use it. Fantastic. Okay. I'm going to save it. We have a plan now. We're outfitting these boys. I don't think you missed anything particularly crazy. We did a couple an initial run back to the way station from last stream. That one was much more in and out. We went in, we got what we needed, we got out. It didn't take me 2.5 hours of fighting, 360 degrees to do this time. We've done a couple of trips to Catan. We've built some things out. Bought some more dwarves to assist us with production. We are starting to produce our own weapons and armor now, which is great. I mean, I don't think we've missed anything particularly crazy, but we are making massive gains in there. I would, so here's the thing. I would make you a Shek. However, because we're doing it, the dwarves on this playthrough are originally were based around the idea of the dwarves from Dragon Age Origin. Okay, I really liked the dwarves of Orzammar, and the dwarves of Orzammar fight the darkspawn in the deep roads, and so my darkspawn in this playthrough were the Shek. When I started this, my initial run was just, before anything else, I wanted to kill the Shek, because they are my darkspawn. What the hell is that sound? That was a horrifying sound. Was that a beak thing? I hated that. Be that bear. Please have cotton. Cotton. Please have what I need. Please have what I need. Stop. Okay. There a chop around here. Cotton, come on, don't be a douche. Come on, man, don't be a dick. Bone dog just... Oh, yeah, it's bounty hunter. Okay. I guess. Come on, don't be a dick. Give me the cotton. I need it. I require it. Nothing. I think the bounty hunters don't have an issue with me. Just a mercenary guild. That is a scary weapon. I would not want to be hit by that. That is a scary weapon. All right, so this... I brought Stream in here because he has, he's quick. I neglected to think about the fact that he has a 7,500 cat bounty with the United Cities for theft and kidnapping. Didn't really think that one through. Man, I just need cotton. Where else can I go? Can't go to Morn. They'll kill me. We can go to Clown Steady. Not quite where I planned to go, but it looks like that's going to be the only option I have. So we're off to Clown Steady. It's been a while since we've been there anyway. Who knows? We might find something of note while we're there. What are these guys doing? Yeah, they're good. They're good. Oof. That loading. We are off to Clown Steady. How long do you think it's going to be before we get there? We have a bit of a ways, but it shouldn't be too long. Nope, 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 nope. Big no, big nope, big nope. Get away from the skin spiders. Big nope. I forgot that I was in the boneyards for a minute, and I was just gonna let it run. Just let it ride. Shouldn't have done that. Forgot that I'm surrounded by pretty much every animal that wants to kill me. I'll do the slave markets first. I'll check there for cotton first. Hopefully they have some so I don't have to go all the way to Clown Steady, but if I do, it's not a big deal. Get away from the guerrilla bandits because, again, they will kick my ass. They will kick my ass, and it will not be pretty. I am fairly confident that the guerrilla bandits could take me down right now. Not even just because he's solo, but even if I had multiple guys, I think unless I had my golems with me, we'd be toast. I think that the guerrilla bandits would mess us up. Oh, thank you. This is Cassie. She's one of my 2 dogs. She's my puppers. She's 10. She sleeps a lot. No. Yeah, that's Cassie. She's one of my 2 dogs, but she's the one that likes to hang out with me while I'm in my office gaming, or I keep making jokes that she's my stream dog now, just because she likes to lay in her bed while I'm playing anyway, so she's just in the background. She's a good pooch. I have another one, Freya. She's currently with my wife, who's in her own office, playing Sims with her friends at the moment. We have anything that's not a slave market here? I don't think so. I do not think so. I think we might be forced to go to Clown Steady. Okay, well, not that far, I guess. Yeah, that's Cassie though. She's half American Bulldog, half Pitbull. No, she's my the older of the 2. She's 10, and then my other one is 8. It'll be 9. It'll be 9 next year. Or yeah, 2016. Yeah, she'll be turning 9 next year. But Cassie here just turned 10 back in August. She's a good pooch, ain't you, Bear? He's tired. The other day about Kenshi's parent planet, if there's a similar situation there, abandoned the first mission. So, I don't know. I want to believe that... I want to believe that planet has life on it, but I also think that it's more likely that it's kind of like a Saturn situation. So, like, one of Saturn's moons, Titan, is actually pretty high on the list of possibilities for colonization for us. So there's Mars, there's the upper atmosphere of Venus, and then there's Titan, which is Saturn, one of Saturn's moons, right? And the moon is more habitable than the planet. Obviously, Saturn is not habitable at all. I don't even think it has land, if I recall properly. I'm pretty sure it's a gas giant. But so I think that Kenshi's the kind of that situation. I don't think that the prime planet that Kenshi orbits is even habitable. And the reason why I think that's the case and that the First Empire doesn't hail from that planet is because if you colonized your moon that was right nearby and you had like a bunch of people up there colonizing it and all that stuff, and then AI robots took over and started attacking you, why would you not send reinforcements to deal with that situation and instead just kind of leave it be, right? Like, that seems like a really foolish thing for a plan if they were nearby, right? I think what's more likely is that Kenshi was a mining expedition or or a colony planet or like a colony situation where they were sent into deep space. They're far away. They have no means of communication with the home empire or the main empire. You know, very realistic space travel in the sense that like it takes a long, long time to get here. Communication with the home planet is not either possible or viable, and basically when the first empire fell, the main group, the main empire, has either no idea or lacks the means to. They just abandon the planet because it's so far away. The resources to send help there would be far too much. I don't think that I don't think that the planet above is like home to the first empire's like founding. I think that the planet up above is just that. It's just a planet that Kenshi orbits. I think Kenshi was far more habitable or capable of being terraformed to be habitable than that planet necessarily was. So, unless of course, again, like you're saying, like you're saying, unless of course maybe like there was a rebellion there too. That's also possible. That there's like a whole separate civilization on there that was like the skeletons overthrew them as well, but who knows? I definitely don't think that they're the parent planet in terms of like the empire is still there or they're from there. There's always the possibility that there was a rebellion that happened there simultaneously with the skeletons that maybe were there, but I think it's just far more likely that Kenshi was a isolated colony planet or a mining planet that takes a long time and a lot of resources to get to, is not able to communicate with the mother empire, and when the skeletons rebelled, they just said, fuck it, I guess we don't have that moon. It was it fell through, like, I guess that one's not ours. That would be my best guess. Gotta be careful here. There's mercenaries, so I'm gonna put myself on block. That way, in the event that the mercenaries decide to start some shit, I could start a war between the mercenaries and the United Cities. Need to wait till morning time so I can go into one of these friggin' shops and get some cotton. All this for cotton. Ridiculous. General shop. I'm gonna have to go here. And we're waiting. 6 a.m. comes around, I can go in there and buy all the cotton I need. I really need to get a better backpack. One that lets me have stacks. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's possible. It could very well have been that situation. Maybe I think I misread it originally, which is why I went on my tangent. I apologize. Um, no, it could definitely be that could very easily be the situation where it was, um, like an aid and supply stop and all that stuff. They could have easily had colonies on that on the planet as well that also fell with the empire. Or they could be running in a similar situation right now where their portion of the empire collapsed and their history went off to diverge into a different area, and then vice versa. So it's quite possible, quite possible. Again, I apologize. I think I misread it the first time. I want to make sure that I have. Is there an armor shop around here? If there is, I'm gonna go in and just double check. No, but there is Shinobi Thieves. No, I think we're okay. I think we're okay. I think we've got what we came here for. Let's not push our luck. That's what I think. Especially since Stream is a wanted man in the United Cities right now. I'd say probably about close to midnight-ish. We'll start, with probably in the next half an hour, because it'll be 12 p.m. here is when we're going to start wrapping up. So we got about half an hour left. Yeah, no, I mean, that's correct. All we can do is speculate, and maybe we'll get some answers in Kenshi too. We're gonna get more information on the First Empire, but I think that the First Empire for Kenshi is like the dwarves and like Akavir and like Yakuta and Elder Scrolls. I know I bring it back to Elder Scrolls a lot. The way their lore works is kind of similar. That's why I bring it up. But Akavir will always be speculative. They said we're never going to Akavir, so it'll always be speculative. Yakuta will always be speculative. We'll never get full answers as to what happened with the dwarves in Elder Scrolls. And I think that the First Empire is kind of like that. We'll get more information, but there will always be an air of mystery to the First Empire. We're always going to have things where we're like, what is this? Why is this a thing? Like, what happened here? And I think that's just going to be a persistent part of the narrative that is Kenshi, and as it should be. Much like in our own history, there's a lot that we don't know about our own history. Even the last couple thousand years are kind of, we're rediscovering our own history all the time. Things that happened 500, 600, 700 years ago, and we've already fucking forgot about it. Things that have happened 1,000 years ago, we've already lost that information. So the First Empire kind of operates on the same pretext, where it's just there's always going to be an air of mystery behind it, and I think that's good. That's the way it should be. It's a source of endless speculation. It's a that kind of endless, like, what if, what happened here? What are they? Who are these people? I think it's a good narrative tool to have. I think that revealing everything is, I think it's well and good in terms of like fulfilling that completionist aspect of people's wants, but it's not very good in terms of world building, because again, much like in real life, we don't know everything, and we shouldn't know everything. Kenshi operates on the same same concept of the unreliable narrator. We only have the perspectives of individuals, not the perspective. We don't have a developer sitting here being like, hey, Nat's not sitting down and being like, this is the story of Kenshi. Instead, we've got people like Catlon. We've got people like, Sabine and Flick and all of them who are telling us the story from their own perspective based on their own postulations and their own opinions and their own findings, and crafting a narrative as unreliable narrators who are going to get some things wrong. And that's the way it should be, because that's how real life operates. And I think it's more immersive that way, and I think it gives us more to speculate on, and it gives us the responsibility as players to either decide what is true, or to go through and pick apart the web of speculation and the static of that unreliable narrator, and create a compelling narrative that we want to follow, that is more likely, which is quite literally what like my entire channel is peeling through that veil of static to try and find the truth on the other side, within the webs of lies and conjecture that is Kenshi. Yeah. I mean, exactly. It operates on that same principle of good horror. Lets the readers decide, the viewers decide what is happening, rather than just being up in your face about it. Sometimes a lack of explanation is even more compelling than just being told. If they came right out and they were like, yeah, the Hybers are actually genetically modified humans, and so are the Shek, and all life is based around humans. And, Kenshi used to have this super civilization that was spacefaring, and they came from this colony that was thousands of light years away, and they you know, all this stuff, and they went to war with behemoths. Like, that would be really cool to read one time, or like maybe a couple of times. But it's all very like, oh, that's cool. I wish I could see that. But wow, these big things are persistent. Thank God I'm fast enough. It's all really cool to read that, and I wish I could see it. But like, I don't know. You know, it's kind of like it's told to you. There's no mystique. There's no mystery. There's no wonder. It's all. It goes from can I picture this to like you just trying to figure out what even happened to picture in the first place. Which I guess in a way, I know this isn't quite the same, is kind of like one of the many fall-offs of Dragon Age lore. Because like between the first, second, and third game, there was so much speculative stuff. There was so much we just didn't know. So much stuff being introduced. Titans. What was the origin of the Darkspawn? And we have this alleged story of the Tevinter, you know, what happened to the Tevinter Imperium and how they, you know, invaded the gates of heaven, and they created the Blight. And we don't know if that's a religious text that's just like creating this explanation for the Darkspawn, or if that's what actually happened. And then by the time you got to Veilguard, aside from all the other issues Veilguard had, they literally just told you everything that actually happened. They basically split all the conjecture from the lore and all the what if and the mystery and the mystique, and they're like, no, this is what actually happened. And that kind of sucks. How often do I stream? So I don't have a set stream schedule. Every week I plan on posting my stream schedule for that week on my community page. I don't have a set schedule at the moment because my schedule is really up in the air. I have some other stuff going on with work that makes it hard for me to determine that. In addition to that, you know, I don't have a set schedule, but I post my schedule weekly. I do stream quite often, however. You know, I streamed Saturday. I streamed Thursday, Saturday. Today I'm streaming tomorrow, again on Thursday, and again on Saturday. So I try to stream at least 3 to 4 times a week, but I'll post every like Sunday or Monday what my stream schedule is for the entire week on my community page. And I also am trying to schedule my streams out on YouTube so that way people can be told in advance, like, hey, there's a stream happening tonight at 8:30. You know, in 6-7 hours, notify me when it's there. So I have a couple of things that I'm doing to mitigate that, but I don't have a set schedule at the moment. I want to have one eventually, but at the moment I don't. The hope is that one day I'll be able to do, you know, YouTube like full time. That's always been my goal, like right from the beginning. It's like quite literally my dream job, but we're not quite there yet. I don't obviously make enough yet, but I'm in an interesting position right now where I can focus on it a bit more. And hopefully get one step closer to making that happen. And then in which case I would have a very consistent, very set stream schedule. We're working on it, but the short answer is that I post at the beginning of every week what my schedule for that week is. Maybe not. I mean, it very well could be. It's never been something I put too much focus onto, just because it calls it rotten meat, and so my assumption is that it's just like bad. And then like the hivers are the rotten meat. Honestly, leads more to making me believe that the hivers are modified humans more than genetic. Their ability to eat the rotten meat. And then I think the other reason is that like maybe some like there's creatures on Earth that you like can't eat because like it's poisonous to eat it. And so I don't necessarily think that the rotten meat would be indicative of them being native. It's just maybe that creature is inherently poisonous to other creatures. Unless, of course, you're the hivers, which seem to be able to eat anything. Which, if you follow my theory on the hivers and all life comes from humans and all that stuff, is very much explained by that idea. That the hivers were humans at one point, or like that they were originally based in humanity. Need to put this up top. That cotton farm needs to be first and foremost, because I need that to be. These guys have been producing plates. Let's see how many plates I have. Truth, get in here for a second. Cannibals have probably... I don't necessarily think it's that the cannibals have evolved. I think it's actually the opposite. I think they've devolved. I think they have prion poisoning from excessive eating of people. And raw meat and brain matter and all that stuff. And in addition to that, I'm pretty sure they're dealing with generations of heavy metal poisoning due to the heavy metal and chemical poisonings, specifically like iron poisoning, like excessive iron poisoning from the runoff of the materials of the floodlands. So the floodlands during the First Empire, the map during Kenshi, the map of Kenshi looked the same as it does now, or very similar to what it does now during the First Empire. And I can actually pull up my other map to prove that. So this is the map during the Second Empire. Now, if you'll notice, comparatively, all of the Second Empire buildings, the buildings that are Old Empire, right? Because the difference between, you can always tell what's the Second Empire and what's the First Empire by the nomenclature, okay? So anything that says Old Empire is second. That's old. Anything that says ancient is first. Now, something that I found really interesting is when you follow the topography of the map, right? And you fill it in based on signs of water erosion. All of the Second Empire buildings, every single one of them is either on the coast or on land. Many of the ancient Empire buildings, not all, but many, are underwater. Many of them are underwater. And so what that tells me is that during the First Empire, the water levels in Kenshi were similar to what they are now. Okay, looking more like this. And then, for reasons that I got into in my cannibal video, the water levels rose between the fall of the First Empire and the Second Empire, and they ended up looking like this. Now, during the First Empire, the floodlands was where skeletons were produced. This was a heavy, heavy area of manufacturing. And because of that, there was a lot of chemicals, a lot of heavy metals. And so when this area floods, the area to the north of here ends up absorbing the nutrients. The materials, the metal, the chemicals into the land itself. Okay? And I believe that it's iron specifically because the ground in the Cannibal Plains in this area is blue. And in real life, there is a process called glaying. I believe it's glaying. And that is when there is an overproduction of iron in the soil, that it gets absorbed into the soil and it causes soil to turn a bluish color. It's the same reason that the gut is blue. And it's also the same reason that the trees in the gut are made of iron, and you can mine iron from them because they evolved to absorb that iron instead of dying. That's just a thing that happened on Kenshi. It doesn't happen in real life that we've ever seen, but one could make certain assumptions that the trees learned to live and subsist off that iron-rich soil, that glaying soil that's blue because of the high content of iron, okay? And so the problem is that if up here was where they grew food during the Second Empire, they would be ingesting heavy metals. They'd be ingesting chemicals. And over time, one could assume that that would cause them to experience heavy metal poisoning. It could cause degrading effects on their mental state. Suddenly you have people that are becoming A, stupider, and B, more aggressive. And so then they start killing people. They start eating people. And then they're also taking in prions, and that erodes your DNA. I don't know if you know this, but if you eat people, cannibals, their DNA erodes over generations. Your body literally cannot eat people and like function in the long term. There's a reason that like you see evidence of cannibals in human history. They're always like really fucked up, like usually kind of like inbred and like genetic offspring, aside from the social issues of it, it literally degrades your DNA and can cause issues because of the intake of prions. It causes unique diseases like Kuru and stuff like that. And so the cannibals are more than likely able to eat raw meat and stuff because they have adapted and evolved to be able to survive the heavy metal toxic environment of. I think the cannibals are their own race for mechanical reasons on Kenshi, like in the game files, not necessarily because of like they're their own race, but that could also very well be a factor as well. But I think that leans more towards like mechanics, because by making them their own race, they can have their own stats, their own breakdown, and also it's easier to be like, hey, the cannibal race can eat meat because they're their own offshoot in the game files, rather than making a subsect of humans that can like eat people. I think it's a game file thing. But that's where the cannibals likely came from. I also think that there's aspects of like ritualism and a corruption of the early cult of Stowe, the Ochrenite belief, based on like some of the paintings that they have, like the tribalistic like tattoos and skin paintings and stuff that they have, the war paint that the females have on their stomachs. It looks like an inverted Ochrenite symbol and stuff. But that's more speculative. But everything with the heavy metal, all that stuff, not only does it scientifically make sense, but it is the most likely answer, is that the cannibals were originally people that devolved due to the heavy metal poisoning, and the skeletons just didn't fucking realize what was going on. There's also a lot of evidence that, like, when this stuff started, when the cannibals started like doing all of this, the Second Empire put up more of a defensive position. They were more or less trying to contain them rather than actually fight them off. But that's a whole different issue. But yeah, so that's where the cannibals came from. They're the result of heavy metal poisoning, leading to glaying in the soil to the north. They grow their crops up there. If this was the breadbasket, because this is a very fertile land. If this was the breadbasket, they're growing food. That food is tainted. They eat the food and they slowly start to lose their minds, and eventually they become degenerated cannibals. And again, you can look up what glaying is. Like, it's all very, like a very real thing. But it's all explainable. Not only would that explain it, but it all has a lot of evidence, not just for the cannibals themselves, but that's why this whole fucking area is blue. and the same thing is why the area of the gut is blue, is because the iron content in the soil is so extreme that it caused the soil to turn blue. Very, very iron-rich soil. So, I appreciate it. I appreciate the, I try to put as much thought into this stuff as possible, because, well, there are some things on Kenshi that are very much like sci-fi, kind of diverge from, reality, and you have to kind of put your speculatory gloves on with that kind of stuff, where you kind of go outside the norms. A lot of stuff with Kenshi is based in some confines of science, and I try to take all that into account. Which faction is the dominant faction when you start? Holy Nation or the United Cities? More than likely the Holy Nation. They're far more stable. The Holy Nation's fighting a war on 3 fronts. They're not really losing that much ground in the grand scheme of things. They've lost some settlements, but in the grand scheme of things, they're not losing that much ground. They're actually doing far more damage to other factions. The United Cities is on the verge of collapse. They're actively going through a peasant revolt. And in addition to that, even though they're a faction like under one banner technically, it's really more of a conglomerate of independent city-states, so it's really hard to say that they're thriving independently. Plus, the Traders Guild really runs all of the United Cities. The nobility have no actual function other than being pissants that allegedly govern things. But they've also, even 75 years before the start of Kenshi 1, they had the Red Rebellion, and several nobles were killed, including the Emperor. So, like, if they really wanted to, if there was a mass uprising by the peasants, they could easily overthrow them again. The Shek kingdom is quite literally collapsing. I don't think there's any hope for them, truthfully. Unfortunately, because the Shek are amongst my favorite. I like them quite a bit. There's some people that think, they'll claim falsely that the Holy Nation is like my favorite and that I'm a stand for the Holy Nation. I'm not. I actually find them deplorable. I find them the most interesting is what it is. I find the Holy Nation to be the most interesting, but I don't like them. I like the Shek the most, but also I'm like unbiased and I don't know if this is the right wording, but smart enough to see that even though the Shek are my favorite, they're doomed. There's no world in that they're not doomed. Even if they were to succeed in their goals, they're doomed. And I'm actually in the process of making a lore video that should come out in the next couple of weeks about what happens if the Shek Kingdom were to win. And it's not good. I mean, they're fucked. Their entire culture is based around the concept of fighting strong opponents and proving your own machismo, as Muffin Top said in one of my recent video about what if how the Shek and the Holy Nation could like exist symbiotically. And so what happens when your entire culture is based around proving how tough you are against everybody else, but you have no more enemies to fight, especially when their entire economy and their entire ability like to feed and sustain themselves is built on a raiding culture with tribute? What happens when you have no one to give you tribute? What happens when you have no enemies to raid? You guys think farming is beneath you. You guys think that production and agriculture and stuff like that are beneath you. You have an entire caste that are effectively one step above slaves. If you're not a warrior, then you're effectively a servant that are performing all of your duties. But like they're not farming. They're not producing their own food. They're getting everything through tribute from other people. They're taking it from other races. They're raiding. They're tributing. They're like, if the Shek were to win, they would implode because they don't have a culture that is built to sustain governance. It's the same issue with like Caesar's Legion in Fallout. They move on, they gather resources, they take tribute, but they have to keep moving to survive. If the Caesar's Legion stopped moving, their culture would fall apart because they're not built for sustainability. They're built for raiding and expansion. And the minute they stop expanding, they're fucked. And the Shek follow the same pretense. As soon as they stop moving, as soon as they don't have an enemy to fight and tribute to get and raids to occur, they're fucked. I would say the Shek are probably closest to the Turks. Probably the Turks. Specifically the Turks. This may be a bad comparison, but I would say the Turks around the time of like the Battle of Thermopylae, like during King Memnon, I think the third. Don't quote me on that. I could very well be wrong on that name. Not Memnon. Sorry, Memnon's wrong. Memnon's a whole different thing. There's been several points throughout history where the Turks have done this. It was who was it? I don't remember which king it was. It's been a while since I've brushed up on my world history when it comes to stuff like that. But I would say the Turks. I think that they're more close to the Turks. There have been several points throughout history where the Turks have tried rapid expansion. They've done the same thing. They go into a place, they conquer it, they kill the people, they take tributes from the areas around it. Look at what happened during the time of Vlad the Impaler. The Turks tried to invade. They tried to demand tribute from the surrounding and neighboring countries. They tried to demand tribute from Wallachia, modern-day Transylvania and Wallachia under Vlad the Impaler. They demanded to start up the judiciary corps again, where they were taking, young children from like the neighboring countries, and they were forcibly conscripting them into their military, and eventually, Vlad the Impaler managed to drive them out of Wallachia through strategic hit-and-run tactics and strategic positioning. But there have been many instances throughout history where the Turks have done this exact same thing that the Sheks are doing, the Shek Kingdom is doing, and operated in a very similar fashion, and it fails every time. the Spartans were at least self-sufficient, you know. And the Vikings, the same thing. The Vikings were largely, they were able to be self-sufficient. They were still producing. They were farmers. They had a raiding culture, and like that is similar, but they had a degree of self-sufficiency. They were producing bread. They were producing grain. They were herding livestock. The Shek aren't doing any of that. Their entire culture is raiding and tribute based. If they lose if they don't have any enemy to fight anymore, they'll collapse. They're done. You know? So, unfortunately, that is what it is. I'd say we got about 5 minutes here. I'm gonna set up some more stuff, and then I'm gonna finish up for the evening. But we're getting pretty close to the end. I will be streaming Kenshi again on Thursday. Tomorrow we're gonna be streaming as well. We're gonna be streaming what is it? Soulframe with Stream SG, our chat mod. And a good buddy of mine. So we're gonna be and also the namesake of Lord Stream as well. So we're gonna be streaming Soulframe tomorrow, but we'll be streaming the Dwarves again on Thursday. If you want to see what mods of mine are installed, go ahead and check out the description for the video. There should be a link to a collection that I've put together on the Steam Workshop that has all of my mods in one place for one easy one-click download for you, so you don't even have to worry about compatibility or anything like that. It's every mod that I have in this playthrough in one-click installation. You hit it and it adds all of those mods to your subscribed items. So it should be in the description. That was why I did it. I had a lot of people ask me what my mods were and like what my setup was and stuff, and so I wanted to give them the opportunity to, you know, have the same mod setup as me. I know that this mod order is very stable because I play with it. It does, like, again, I crash on occasion, but that's Kenshi. That's not my mods. I know that it's a very stable load order. It's everything that I have in this playthrough. So if you see, you know, everything going on here and you're like, I want to play with that, well, now you can, right there. Easy peasy, a lemon squeezy. But with that being said, I do think I'm going to wrap it up for the evening. We've been going for about 3 hours and 40 minutes. It's, you know, getting to be, it's just past midnight here. So I think that we're, oh, this base, we are on the Fishman Isles. The opposite of the Iron Trail. The opposite of the Iron Trail. We are at the very bottom of the map. Yeah, we're at the Fishman Isles. So, I do think that this is where I'm going to call it, though. So I do appreciate it, everybody. Thank you, Cosmic Yak, for all of the all the support tonight. Seriously, it's been absolutely incredible. I sincerely appreciate it. Welcome to the Mad Lads Guild. I'm going to be having a lot more cool benefits for channel members coming up here real soon, so stick around. Once the Discord is up and running, I will post an announcement about that as well. And I will see you guys all again either tomorrow for Soulframe, or if you guys are only interested in Kenshi, I will see you guys on Thursday for Kenshi again. We'll be back with the Dwarves, and Thursday we're going to start getting our outfitting going. We're going to get the means of production really moving with producing armor and weapons and whatnot. But one thing actually I do want to check before we leave is how many armor plates have we put together, if any? Okay, well, it says not many, so that's not great. Do they have them in their inventory or something, or are they just slow as shit? I think they may just be slow. That seems not correct. Why are you sitting around? Okay. He goes, I'm very confused as to where my armor plates are going. We're producing them. Where are they going? Ah. Okay, well, that'll be the mystery for tomorrow. Not tomorrow, for Thursday. So, all right, I'm going to save it again. And again, yeah, I appreciate you guys' time. Thank you guys for joining me today. It's been great. As always, use your powers for good instead of evil. Make a difference in someone's life. And, yeah, pay attention to where your dwarves are putting your armor plating, because these guys are producing, but they're not They're not storing, so not really sure what's up with that. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. See you Thursday, or I'll catch you when I catch you.